And we're back
to the Zach Nichols podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Zach Nichols.
And quite possibly my favorite co-host, Anthony Nichols.
You're another big pause and another big round of applause for Anthony Nichols.
Right, buddy? All right.
And you know what's crazy? I never thought about it, but people have been asking me who's my favorite guest has been, and it's just been so obvious right in front of me this entire time. My favorite guest by far, Anthony Joseph Nichols.
Here we go, buddy.
Welcome back to the couch.
He's got a fruit stick. He's got his superhero pants, chilling with some toys.
Yep.
Probably got a loaded diaper. Don't know. Haven't checked since we got here. Bad dad.
Bad dad.
Terrible father.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Might get some piss on the couch.
We can always replace it. We could never replace our time with my nephew, your son, here in the building. You know, it's funny. All this dad talk. You know, that video still circulates from our podcast with Jenna about the baby diapers. Something tells me you're changing on average about 3 or 4 per day these days, huh?
3 or 4. I'd say 3 or 4 before most people had their coffee.
These guys are getting it out there. We'll definitely talk a little bit more about.
We got some stories to tell, but
yeah.
We only have enough snacks to get through 3 episodes of Traitors.
Yep.
Before Anthony loses his shit or craps his pants. So here we fucking go.
Let's get to it. Okay, so
I had some other things to say, but I forgot because I do get anxiety when Anthony's here.
It's okay. We're gonna do ZNP tomorrow, and if he's here, then we're gonna find a way to get it out. But if you guys are hearing this, it's Traitors episodes 7 through 9 review. Let's get into it. So we get back to see the invitation to seduce Peter on the Traitors.
You can't seduce a bachelor. What a hardo. His middle name is Jordan.
Jordan. Peter.
I would just say yes.
Jordan.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I feel like the more I watch this, the more you have to have a target, and you have to make sure everyone knows the target, and you have to get close enough and then back off, and close enough and back off, and you can't pivot. And so Peter becoming a traitor, I think he knows. I don't think he's doing it because of this. I think he's doing it because he's so fired up about like traitors versus faithfuls, and that's where his mindset is.
Right.
When in reality, that is probably his best game move, because as soon as he becomes a traitor, he's got to pivot. And when people see a pivot, red flags go up. And even if you're not a traitor and you do a pivot, it's just don't give anyone a reason, you know?
Well, it's a good point. I think
don't give them a reason.
Don't give them a reason. I think this game is different with these guys because I don't think they care about the money at all, to be honest. I think they want to leave this experience.
I disagree. I think there are certain people who do care about the money, and I think there are certain people who don't.
Do you think Peter cares?
I think Peter wants to make sure that the faithfuls win. I think if Peter is the type of guy where if he gets like taken out, but because of that a traitor gets taken out, Peter would be like, I did what was right for my people. Where it's like, no, dude, you're just playing a game.
Right.
Like, but he's like dying on this sword. He's into it. But here's the thing. He's not a competitive reality guy.
That's what I'm saying. For him, he's more concerned with winning.
Like babes were just draping themselves on him. How like this is actual game. But I was like thinking like, how embarrassed would you be to be like, oh yeah, dude, I was on The Bachelor.
Yeah, well.
Like what show are you on at The Bachelor? I'd be embarrassed.
Why would you, I mean, come on, bro. Like, look, I know you don't watch The Bachelor, but
that's terrible.
If you're The Bachelor, if you're saying, oh, I was a contestant on The Bachelorette, if you're The Bachelor, it's kind of cool. It is cool.
No,
I'm gonna stand on it. It's
cool, but when you go into a house with Deontay Wilder, right. At least CT and Bananas be like, oh yeah, I've won the challenge. And Deontay Wilder, who could kill you in one punch, is like, oh, what do you do? Oh, yeah, I was on The Bachelor.
All my job was
Yeah. The only person who can be worse in that situation is John. Oh my God, I can't stand John.
Well, I'll say this. The funny thing is that he had one job to win his season, and that's to like a girl and have him like her back, and couldn't do that right. So
he's a pilot?
He's a pilot.
Okay, he's a pilot.
He is playing. Let's talk about his game. How do you feel about Peter's game so far?
At this point?
At this point, exactly. Throughout all the episodes.
Here's the thing. Like, is it entertaining? Yes. Is he like a bloodhound for the Traitors? Yes. But is that smart? No.
Definitely
it's
not.
Not. It's terrible gameplay.
That's why this move specifically, not becoming a traitor, it was so like
it's horrible.
Yeah, it's just
no, I think that's the best move for him, but there's already a target on his back, so he has to oust the traitors is what he has to do.
Yeah.
I don't see that's the thing is I think the more I watch this show, the less cocky I get about being a traitor. I think it's really hard.
It is hard. And I think like
really hard.
For somebody like Peter, if he went in there, let's say he became the traitor. If he went in there and they played this game where they were like fighting against each other this whole time and kind of like what you said, get close enough to make it seem like a thing and then back off in a real Josh style way, right? That way you're always relevant, you're always fighting, but you're never the end target, which I think a lot of the traders are really messing up with right now. You're not giving people someone to go after.
Right. They're trying
to divert attention.
Now, Dan did it to an extreme where he was like, I have a secret, but I can't tell you until tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, nerd.
And that secret and that whole thing didn't come out until he was already a name.
Like, if you want to know how to be a trader, go back and watch season 1 and watch Sari Fields. Here's the thing. She played it perfectly. However, I do think that every game is different. I see maybe there's more of like, I see like people are getting into groups, right? They're all about the numbers. So essentially everyone wants to get to the end. Like a lot of the gamers, right? They're talking numbers because it's not about getting a trader out. It's about getting to the end and then getting the trader out but they want to get to the end.
Yeah.
And that's why they're all talking about numbers. So that's why I think a lot of the decisions that have happened, thanks, buddy, are happening. Because I think that they're trying to get traders. They're not trying to get traders out. They're trying to keep themselves safe. So you're playing this like balance game of, I got to go for a trader, but I don't want to go for a trader if they're working with me until a certain point.
Right.
So you're playing.
We're seeing that with Sheree right now.
There's so many angles.
So
to play. I don't know if I think being a faithful and being a faithful, I think CT's playing the best game right now.
Okay.
Hands down.
So real quick, I want to touch on Sari real quick. I didn't watch season
Fields.
1. Yes, Sari Fields. What made her so good in comparison to what the traders are doing now?
She was like Phaedra on steroids. Everyone loved her times a million. And she would always be like, if someone else said a name, Sari would piggyback on that. But she wouldn't, she would never be the leader.
So see, like, hey, buddy, how you doing?
You got to talk though.
So, like, we talked a lot about Jay in 39 about how he's Mr. Me Too, and if you're doing it from a vindictive standpoint, it's like obvious that you're a piece of garbage.
All right, hold on one second.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So, what made Sari Fields great at the game, and what did she bring to it? That you were saying that she's like Phaedra on steroids.
I think she's just extremely likable. She played both sides without somehow letting both sides know.
That's what it was. We're saying on 39 we saw Jay be a Mr. Me Too.
Explain that to me, Mr. Me Too.
So somebody would bring up somebody else's name.
Me Too is like the rape thing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, no,
I just want to make sure we're not talking like. I'm like, are we talking about Jay getting like raped or something?
No. So what I mean
is that why he looks like a sucker that was pulled out from a bus seat? Is that why?
That might be
when
why.
He came out of the water.
With
Like,
all
that looks like a lollipop that just got pulled out of a cushion.
No,
that's the best explanation for it.
That is so. Just imagine just pulling out a sucker. That's what it would look like.
It looks like Jay's hair. Dude, you're terrible. Why are you laughing at that joke?
Because I think it's so funny. All right, let's get back on track. So
fucking belly laughing 5 minutes in. I already punished my child, sniffed an ass, and got Pierre belly laughing.
Bro, I can't help it, bro. I can't help it because I'm just thinking of the sucker coming out of this. Okay.
All right. Sucker coming out of what?
Mr. Me Too.
Butthole.
Mr. Me Too. Mean somebody else brings a name up or somebody wants to have an issue with somebody else, and he's always, oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too. Me
okay,
too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, me too. Oh no, yeah, no. I think we should go with him too.
Yeah, but Sari did it in a very likable way. But Sari's, it's like, here's the thing. I think she just has such a likable personality, and she's a nurse, and she's,
she's genuine. She could lie, but she's genuine.
Exactly. She said it. She explained it when she got on Big Brother that she's like a gangster, like a mobster. She'll tell you what you want to hear to your face, make you believe it, and as soon as you turn your back,
yeah,
yeah. Walk the plank.
No, she's great, man. I love watching her on the season of Big Brother. But back to this episode, this season of the Traitors 7 through 9. Phaedra, she's close to playing a tight game, but she is making mistakes. So
she's starting to swerve a little bit.
Yeah, she's making mistakes.
She's starting to like.
Yeah. If you were Peter, the next morning at breakfast,
thank God I'm not.
Would you have withheld? Would you have withheld that information, or would you have told your select few? Like you decided to tell.
Honestly, I have no idea. I would have probably waited to say something, But what was funny was I wouldn't have turned to John and been like, I have something to tell you after breakfast, but I can't tell you now, John. I know John has hearing aids in, so maybe wait to tell him secrets in a secret spot.
You don't need to tell him right now at breakfast.
I thought that was the dumbest move ever.
Yeah, no,
anyone that saw that knows.
So during Parvati, it's during breakfast.
Parvati.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's Parvati.
Parvati.
Anyone who complained about that, thank you, but also suck my ass. Don't care. Like, that's a tough name to get.
Yeah.
All right, don't be weird, dude. Come on, man.
He's a kid.
I know he's a kid. I'm just joking.
All right. All right. Yeah. So Parvati.
Parvati.
So Parvati.
Remember, someone actually sent us how to pronounce that, like a YouTube video. Yeah, click on it, and it was like Parvati.
Yeah.
And I was
Parvati.
I was saying Parvati or something.
Parvati.
Like Parvati.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's throw a Parvati tomorrow. Big Parvati this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have a charcuterie board
idiots
with Parvati on it. Parvati
bunch
cheese.
Of idiots.
Okay. So Parvati.
Parvati.
Okay. So during breakfast, Parvati goes in for a hug for Peter, and he like half dodges her. He's like, "Whoa, like I'm not trying to, I'm trying to give you a hug."
Oh yeah, that was like the most awkward hug I've ever seen. He like dipped on her.
Yeah, she was like,
you know what else was an awkward hug? The hug between Sandra and John.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that. It was like almost like John hasn't been hugged in 40 years.
I'm gonna go back and see that.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
So Peter gathers Trishelle, Kevin, Bergie, John, lets them know that he was recruited. Phaedra walks in, and she's immediately kind of like, hey, like give us a minute, gives a minute, realizes he's crewed up. So Trishelle is on this Phaedra train.
I'm gonna tell you what, Trishelle is frantic. But despite her franticness, she's really good at this game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if she'd be a good, maybe she would be a good trader, but she picks up on things like you wouldn't believe, and she's smart. Because why would you go for a trader? I like how she doesn't want to go for Parvati because everyone knows that. So let her go, right? But you do make, there's a chance you're going to get killed. But she sees Phaedra being very connected and very surrounded, and I think that freaks her out, right? So I love that move, and I think it's brilliant. And at first, I thought she was just some crazy drunk woman in the house, but she's a professional poker player.
Oh yeah,
and I always would be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, like I'm a professional football player, semi-pro indoor football. I got paid, but I wouldn't call me a professional.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it looks good on paper, but I'm like, yeah, you're played poker because you're a girl who knows how to play, and they invited you, and they're no, I think
your name. You're good looking, but she's got.
I think she's good, dude.
So
I will eat my words. I thought this was going to be an absolute shit show of a season 4, and she's killing it.
Oh, she is in the know, and
she still has the meltdowns, right? But she's doing pretty good. No.
At this point, Sandra kind of feels like a pizza trader. She gathers the leftovers that she calls.
Why does she think Pete's a traitor? He has done nothing. Like, if you're a traitor, you're not going to be the loudest, most upfront guy, right?
You would think.
I wouldn't, or maybe that's how you do. That's the Josh move to like disguise yourself in plain sight. I don't know, but I wouldn't have. Peter wouldn't be the first. Here's the thing: I'm not gonna go for Peter as a traitor. Why? Because let's say he's not a traitor, he's gonna get killed before me. Mm-hmm. So let him do his thing. Now, if people keep ending up dead and Peter keeps being, then you know, right?
You keep talking about how there's so many angles to this thing.
There's so many angles. I would suck at it. I thought I would be good at it, but I would suck.
It is so true because you have to help the faithful to a certain extent. But if you're wrong in public, and especially if you do what this guy's doing, he's trying to make moves. He's trying to like lie to people and like play stupid and play dumb.
Peter's just been like setting out booby traps, and it was perfect at first because his booby traps actually exposed Dan and Parvati.
Mm-hmm,
Boom.
that's true.
Suck that, fan. Parvati. Actually, thank you very much for the correction.
Yeah, no, we appreciate
I don't want to sound like an idiot.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
I sound like a moron for 2 hours on an internet show. Moron. Anyways, you're right. You're totally right. That move was good, but see, you can only if you miss with that move, it's no good.
Right. No, for sure. So
right, like let's say Dan was like, "Well, I'm not. I'm a faithful." Now that looks terrible.
Now you're dead.
Right. Now you're dead. Now you are the traitor.
Right.
So he is flirting a fine line with that, but he's also the biggest person to get out. Like he has to fight every day to get a shield because if he doesn't, there's a 99.100% chance he's going to get kicked out.
Yeah, the honorability thing that with him is just keeping him right on the edge of being the hero versus being the villain. And it happens, it culminates in episode 9 where CT's just telling him like, nah, dude, I'm going for you. Like, you're inconsistent as shit. And he tells him.
Do you think he's overcompensating because he was the Bachelor and he feels like he has to be the main traitor, you know, like bloodhound?
Well, I think that there's been rumors that that's why John is being such a faithful guy. It's because he doesn't like being a politician. He doesn't want to be looked at as a scumbag. Well,
he is a scumbag.
Yeah, well,
because he is a politician. All politicians suck. Do you want me to go over my reasons why?
Oh, I would love to hear that.
Number 1, Joe Biden.
Oh, there you go.
Number 2, Nancy Pelosi and what she's done in San Francisco. Here's my biggest thing with politics. I hate them all. I don't like any of them really. But what I hate the most is when you look at anything that the government has taken control of or run. How about the war on drugs? Marijuana is flourishing. It is a champion right now.
It's true.
Marijuana is the Patrick Mahomes
of the drug game.
Of the drug game. It wins. It won. It's winning in every state.
They would call that crossover where marijuana has crossed over into medicine.
Well, you know, marijuana actually originally was medicine. And
right.
The DEA came and ruined everyone's good time. And anyways,
it's crossed over into medicine and recreation.
But let's put like billions of dollars to fight marijuana and then let it win. So that's number 1. Number 2, Jimmy Carter started the Department of Education when we had the #1 education system in the world. Ever since then, we've gone down. So what's the point? So we're paying for a Department of Education, which has ruined our education. So I automatically hate all politicians. I don't care what side of the fence you're on or what side of the room. I think you're a scumbag. Get a real job.
Get a real job.
That's how I feel. I think small business owners should run all the business owners, and there should be some representative people. They should make the decisions for smaller areas. Like these, like people they don't know what we're going through.
100%.
The American dream has become the American nightmare.
Speak on it.
Think about it. When I was growing up, you know, if your dad made anywhere above 40 grand, you were living in a nice house. Your mom got to stay home. The groceries were paid for. Now it's like everyone's got you have to have 2 people working just to afford the middle class lifestyle.
It is true. They've really literally destroyed the whole idea of the American dream. And it's sad. It really is.
No.
Now, for Parliament, might be different. No,
I don't know. Actually, I didn't. Like, here's the crazy part about Anthony. Get out of there. That's expensive equipment. What was crazy was yesterday, speaking of government, you voted. I voted. G, did you vote?
G didn't make it out to vote. What about Michael?
Michael, did you vote? The fuck? That's what's wrong with the kids these days. No, for real. Here's the thing. If I didn't go and vote yesterday, I would never hear the end of it from Jenna. She literally, and I agree, she's like, if you don't go and vote, you're the biggest hypocrite in the world.
I agree.
So, I made sure Beans and I went out and voted, tried to slip one in for Beans, but I wasn't voting for the Democratic side, so they wouldn't let me cheat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, the thing is I said to Jenna, I was like, hey, I'm going to vote today. And she goes, for what? And I'm like, oh, the primary. She goes, oh, what are you voting for? And I said, you literally make me feel old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you not learn? Like, she just does not really care about that stuff. And I think that's a problem. You kids these days.
Sometimes, man. Sometimes you don't. You got to take the future in your own hands.
Do you like paying $3 for gas? Do you like interest rates being at what, 8%?
For those of you looking for a house, do you like not being able to get a house? Not easy right now.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier 4 years ago, 6 years ago.
Listen, for real.
Keep it real with it.
That's John sucks. And I also don't like old people on reality television, like that old. You want to know why? Because they become like a mascot and people keep them around because they feel bad for them and they somehow sneak their way to the end when it's like, John should have been gone before the show even started. John should have been gone before, like John is there and Johnny Bananas isn't. We're missing out on so much
I thought about
entertainment.
that 7 times doing
Get
these
rid of
notes.
John and give me Johnny Bananas.
Give me Bananas, dude.
I think Johnny would suck at Traitors because Johnny likes to make public moves, but he would give us more than like a half an episode.
Yeah, we got scammed.
Yeah.
We really got scammed. But it's crazy though, especially
I don't want John. I don't like John.
So the one thing about John that we do have to mention, if he was actually a traitor right now and he was playing the exact same way, it would be one of the most brilliant seasons you've ever seen. For real. Because there's zero suspicion on him.
But maybe that's why is because when you have nothing to lie about, it's easy.
Yeah.
Like Trichelle's killing it maybe because she has a completely clear conscience.
Clear conscience. Mm-hmm.
That's how it's done.
No, for sure. And it's crazy. All right. Well, let's get back to it. Sandra, she seems really smart. Why do you think she hasn't like identified any traitors so far?
Because she's obnoxious and she actually isn't very smart. I don't know. Maybe she is. She's good at. She's very good at Survivor, right? But she's annoying to me.
Yeah.
She's always got to yell something out at the host or I know you, Dr. Will. She's like a ninja. She's you know
could do
she's
without
giving
her.
me straight ninja vibes.
I hear that.
You feel that though?
I do feel
you?
there's like a know-it-all quality that I don't like.
It's very ninja. Yeah, it's like she's like Ninja's great aunt.
I mean, you won Survivor. You got to
right.
give that's like that's a very hard thing.
Winning Survivor is all about being able to struggle. But when I forget what challenge it was. It was one where they were running through the woods with partners.
Yes.
Sandra literally said, "This is the hardest challenge I've ever done." And at that moment is when I realized the challenge is the greatest competition show in television history.
Yeah.
Because here is a Survivor champion, like one of the greats, and she's telling us that this challenge that Kate from Below Deck could finish is the hardest challenge she's ever done. Phaedra finished
50-year-old housewife.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
The challenge reigns supreme always.
Hey, talk about it. So
I can talk about it all day.
So the daily mission, we'll talk about that right now. So they had to carry the gold through the woods, and then there's some
Yeah, and you'd be shocked how hard
trivia.
those answers are to, like those questions are. Sorry, you'd be shocked how hard it is to answer those questions when you're like we're watching it. We're like, oh, it's easy. It's the moon. But when you're in the moment, you see something different, or it's just funny how even just the dude just said the name of the woods, and people couldn't even do that. I would have been there too. I'd be like, this is a name I'm not used to.
It was wild that poverty.
Yeah, it's crazy that you keep saying poverty. It's Parvati. No, it's not. It's Parvati.
Parvati and John made it through unscathed, completely unscathed, and so did Sandra and Kevin. So, you know, I thought the booby traps were fun twist.
Sandra and Kevin, yeah, that's where you look at it and you think that Sandra is good at these games because she remembered those things, but she also thought this little jaunt through the woods was the hardest thing she's ever done. So, come on now.
Hey, brains over brawn won in that
Yeah,
one.
whatever, dude.
They got to choose who they were playing. If you're a
How
traitor,
about how CT and Phaedra buddied up real quick?
like, how you doing?
Exactly.
How you doing?
Yeah, now say more like that. Like, yeah, like say a whole sentence. It's like,
What are you doing after this?
you know, I took up smoking on World of Worlds 2
'Cause
just
of him?
to hang out with him more.
That's great.
Literally, I brought Black and Mild.
What's his I was gonna say,
So
what's
I
his
brought,
cigarette
like-
of choice?
I brought CT,
Yeah.
the ones that light. I think he likes menthols, but I don't know if he just smokes menthols when he's out of the country. But I brought like, you know, Black and Mild's come in packs of 5 or whatever. I brought like 30 of them.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I spent so much time with him because like he's always smoking by the ashtrays because they don't want to see people, you know, MTV and BMP, they don't want people smoking on camera because it's a bad look, right? We're supposed to be attractive, these like physical specimen, and then there you go seeing someone win 5 seasons, he's a chain smoker, you know?
Yeah, you got
But I picked it up just because I liked hanging out with him, man. I got to hang out with him more. I got to talk, pick his brain, and it was more about just past challenges, life, because I knew he was never gonna come for me, but I just, you know, I picked up smoking for that season because I enjoyed spending time with CT.
That's great. So they got together real quick.
He'd probably get pissed by me talking about that.
We can cut it.
No, we're not going to cut it. I'm just saying, does anyone really want to be like, you know, whatever? I guess I wouldn't want my kids hearing that, but I don't think his kid's a subscriber, so we're good.
Yeah, we're straight. Yeah, they go through that challenge. They were running through the woods. You know, you could twist an ankle. A lot of these 50-year-old women.
Like Anissa, how
Yeah.
Anissa did in first 30 seconds. But then Jordan told her, if you just think hard enough, it'll heal itself. Bro, come on. Anissa.
He almost got that done. Isn't that crazy?
Listen, you know how I feel about that.
All right, so
Jordan's a man.
oh, he is. He's the go. All right, so now listen, we know there's some heat on Peter. But when he comes to Parvati and says we should work together, what do you think about that move?
John?
No, Peter. This is after the after that challenge.
See, that's where I'm starting to question it. Yeah, I thought you were talking about like they didn't work together on the challenge, but you're talking about in the game afterwards.
Yeah.
And that was completely See, I never know if is Peter doing this to like suss something out, or is he doing it because he's serious, or did someone explain the numbers to him too, and he realized that if we get rid of Parvati, then this side of the house is screwed, and so maybe he in his head, or someone told him like Trishelle, hey, if we get rid of Parvati now, we know she's a traitor. Let's save her for the end. If we get rid of her now, like then we're screwed because they have the numbers. No one is going for Phaedra.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like a free quiz.
So,
You're just saving the free quiz.
But I don't know if anyone told him that or if that's why he did it. But I was wondering, why would you do that? Because again, a pivot in your strategy looks really bad.
Yeah, and so 100%. I thought this was like a really weird move by him. It's like you already have her in your hands. Why are you even rocking the cradle?
Yeah,
I didn't understand it at all.
I didn't. I think even if you were gonna vote for Parvati, I think that you need to not make that public until you get to the round table. And then at least maybe you can get away with saying, oh, I'm just hopping on the bandwagon. I don't have enough. Hey.
Phaedra is in that conversation at first. And then as soon as...
That's smart. That was such a brilliant move.
Talk about it. So he starts saying, hey, do you want to work together? She dips quick. I don't want to be part of this. What did you think about that?
I think because she didn't want to get pulled into it and be a part of that, because she knew as... You know, I do. I think that was a brilliant move. I think that Phaedra did what she needed to do to just be, sometimes not knowing is better because then your reaction is authentic. But I think she recognized that those two dealing together, you don't want to be around that because, A, she's a traitor and he's the first one that's going to get killed as soon as the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely. And that's a bargaining chip. When she knows, oh, I can say to everybody, they started talking and I walked away.
Yeah.
Right away. It's like literally it's equity.
Yeah. Equity. And then everyone says, oh, you must be a faithful because you don't even want to be a part of this conversation with Parvati.
Yeah.
See,
sure.
Being a traitor is weird to me because you have to work with each other, but at the same time, you don't want the other traitor to get a leg up. So you also have to be really shady. So again, it comes down to who cares more, What
you said is so smart, which is if Parvati's already implicated and someone chooses to essentially say, let's work together, I'm not working with her.
You can't.
Even if you're working with her in the shadows, which you are, you're not going to let everybody know you're working with her in public. Hell no.
And if you choose to pivot off your vote, do it and try to make it seem like it was a split-second decision, because this flip-flopping, even if you are a faithful, it still looks bad because you're changing everything you were saying. And again, that is just it's a red flag. And it's just to put that in people's mouths and don't give people the reason. But see, that's why I think there's like a secret game of numbers going on that we're not seeing all of. They're keeping it to strictly faithful and traitor talk. They're not giving us that maybe from editing because it's not the actual game, but I think the number talk is a big part of it. We also don't see are they really going to their own room and spending only time there? Or are they having, you're off camera now, so you get some time away, or you get,
Are they texting?
Right.
Do they have their phones?
Because when we were on Champ Stars, we only had to do a certain amount of hours of social interactions, and then everyone just kind of went back to their own rooms, and you could hang out with each other, and cameras weren't there. So I have a suspicion that there might be some of that going on.
I would think so too.
Because I don't understand a lot of these pivots, but we did see Sandra literally using the pool balls to explain the numbers to people, and it doesn't. What it seems to me is it does not matter who the traitors are until the end. Everyone just wants to kind of make it to the end, and that's why the house is split. But then I wonder, is now CT playing it smart and saying, okay, I'm going to vote for a person on this side of the house, and then I'm going to vote for a person on that side of the house. I'm just going to keep going back and forth to keep the numbers where they're at so that I'm never on the one ousted. I just keep in the middle, and I'm always like the swing vote. That's what he did in War of the Worlds 2 to the Brits. He literally would play on Cara and Pauly's side, then he'd play on Kyle's side, and then he'd go back and forth, and he would make sure the numbers were even until the very end. Then he said, yeah, screw this, save Tori, sent in Ashley against Nani, and it was a brilliant move. But that's what I feel like CT's doing now, and I think that CT is here to win. I think CT is actually really wants the money. I mean, socially, he just got out of that divorce.
Yeah.
So I think he really wants the money.
Yeah.
So he's playing almost an impeccably perfect game to a point of he doesn't even care that he has 20 years of experience or 10 years of experience with Trishelle. He's playing strictly the game.
You're opening my eyes so much to certain things right now. And
but
one of these
he's doing it without being like, look what I'm doing.
Right. He's playing stupid. Mm-hmm. And you think he's the only one? It's funny because I was going to ask you this question, but now you literally just answered it, which is, well, you think Trishelle's going to pick up on that and CT's not? Hold up. You think CT doesn't realize that Phaedra could be a traitor. No, he knows. The second he has a little bit of some evidence he could sit on, for example, for the shooting thing, he goes, oh yeah, even though Sandra was the one to bring it up, hey, why don't you go to for Trishelle's name? But because Phaedra was the first one to take a shot at Trishelle's window, he used that little inkling. He loves Phaedra. He cares for her, but he knows he has to get her out eventually.
Yeah.
They gave him a little bit of juice, and he's taking it.
Right.
And he's so smart.
CT's opening the door. Oh, yeah, here you go, Trishelle. You know what I'm saying? He knows what she knows, but I really feel like CT, because he really hasn't, he was kind of talking to Peter for a while, and then he told Peter, hey, bro, like, you're flip-flopping, dude. I don't like it, you know? And then he ends up, you know, in episode, I think, 9, he votes for Phaedra. So CT doesn't care, and if the majority of the house is going one way, he's going to go with them. Then he's going to go back here, and he's going to go back and forth. He's trying to set it up so that his game never changes. He's keeping homeostasis in the house for himself, but he's not, whether he's doing it purposely, which I think he is, or not, it's a brilliant game move because he understands it's a game of numbers. I think he knew Dan. I think he sniffed Dan out right away.
Yeah.
I think CT is only voting for traitors if he's 100% they're a traitor and if it's 100% going to still keep him safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so if Peter were to go, Trishelle's next in line, he's still good. I think he would start protecting Trishelle a little bit more, but if she's out there, I think then he's going to maneuver John into that spot, which is kind of what I think the torch thing did.
Yeah, and I think the torch thing, and obviously the vote at the end where he voted for Phaedra, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but he's letting everybody know I'm a free thinker,
and I'm going to do what. But at the same time, he's just keeping the numbers in his favor, and the numbers in CT's favor aren't when everyone's with him. It's when there's enough people on one side and enough people on the other.
He's like the casino. He sets the betting line so that there's an equal number of people betting, and he collects the juice.
CT's the reason why like the NFL big games always make the spread. Yeah. That's CT right now.
So at the house after in the evening,
So
Alan,
after the challenge where they were running through the woods.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Alan invites them to the foyer to tell them, hey, we're going outside. We're not having a round table tonight. And they have this torch lighting ceremony. Very eerie.
I love this because you know what it does? You see this move on the challenge all the time. This is a move from production to basically make everyone who wasn't chosen super paranoid and to show where everyone's true allegiance falls.
Absolutely. And the domino effect, the safety chain, that's what I thought of, made me think of.
This is a production. Come on.
Yeah.
Oldest book in the oldest trick in the scroll.
Yeah.
You know?
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. So they start off with Kevin and Sandra making a choice. They choose Sheree. I thought it was an interesting choice. Was that surprising to you that they chose Sheree? I mean, I feel like Kevin, for him, the numbers weren't in his side, but he's like, oh, I'm not going to ruffle any feathers by it.
Yeah, I think he just was trying not to ruffle any feathers.
Yeah, for sure. And then it goes Sheree to Phaedra, which was obvious. And then she chooses CT, her castle daddy, as she called him. And then CT chooses John over the likes of Trishelle.
I think because John's more even-keeled and John has more people. John obviously has more people on his side.
Yeah, and it's much more of a justifiable move if you're just like, oh, everyone knows John's a faithful. It's not even debatable. So I'm just making sure that the faithful stay alive.
Right.
Yeah, no, very smart in my opinion. He makes a quote. He's had some great quotes.
Who, John?
CT.
Yeah.
If we're playing the game, it's not about friends. I hope everybody can understand. It's not a death sentence.
It's not, but it also, I mean, put yourself on the other side and also remember who Trishelle is. You can tell she's a little frantic. She's got a little paranoid Pam in her.
Yeah, she does. Paranoid Pam.
So
Gheesling.
he knew what he was setting up right there, you know?
Yeah, and it's also like, I think for him, like he becomes the hero in the next episode where he lets her get the shield. So like he knows how to set himself up to be the man in later episodes. You're making me realize the steps he takes to set himself up.
So he did what he did, and I think he was presented an opportunity to kind of redeem himself, and he took full advantage of it. But also, I think CT feels really safe.
Of course.
I don't think CT's really good at, you notice like everyone else has to say a name, but CT's so good at being like, well, I don't know anymore. I'm so confused. But he's been getting away with it.
For sure.
You know, like but he has put names out there. He has gone after people. He hasn't pulled I just don't know. Like Phaedra's getting close to a point where she needs to start saying names. She needs to start pointing fingers. It's episode 9 and she's much sneakier than Dan. She's much better at it than Dan, but she needs to pick it up here. Like she's starting to get sussed out.
That's been my biggest problem with the Traitors gameplay is like they're playing to not get caught instead
They're
of
literally playing possum.
instead of playing to have them catch the wrong person.
Yeah.
Big difference.
I mean, I don't know how you do this, but you have to find opportunities to set people up to look shady.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta
Stepping out of the room when two people go have a conversation. Now you at least can throw Parvati under the bus to the rest of the house because you weren't a part of that conversation.
Yeah, and if you might be numbering your days by doing this, but they took out Parvati.
Well, Dan, actually, I do remember. Dan was doing that to just get Parvati off his back.
Yeah.
He was, quote unquote, faking it. Or Pete, I'm sorry.
Pete, yeah.
Dude, sorry. Pete had that conversation with Parvati to literally just get her off his back, and he was, quote unquote, faking it.
Sure.
Now he says he is. But he's all over the place with these moves.
That's why it's like if people choose the Parvati Pete side, then they're gonna go for Phaedra, but they haven't been. They took Parvati, even though that was at the time
because there's a Phaedra's group is much tighter knit, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
it's Trishelle, it's Pete, Bergie, when he's not changing his diaper,
Kevin,
John, and then there's a whole other side of the house. But there's a lot of floaters in that group who go back and forth. Whereas like Cherie and
MJ,
Phaedra and MJ, they stick true.
Yeah, they stick together. Okay. So Sandra comments on Peter's demeanor and just says, like, man, he was really nervous. I think he could be a faithful. But the lies are catching up to him, man. It's
crazy. He's just flip-flopping and he thinks that there's going to be no repercussions. You know, he's like, even if you're a faithful, what you're doing, you're making traitor moves as a faithful, you know. You got to stop that. He should have just stayed on Parvati, and then once she was gone, he could have been like, see? And then he could almost fade back away. You never want to go, because now that listen, in the chance that the two people's names that you're saying are both traitors, getting rid of one doesn't get the other one off your back. So had he never said Parvati, or had he never said Phaedra and just stuck to Parvati, I think Phaedra doesn't want to kill him. So that's kind of where I'm thinking maybe he truly doesn't know what's going on, because I would think only one name needs to come out of my, like, same thing is like you pick one person who you can always vote in on the challenge. Here, same thing. Go after one person until it's either proven, right? He just threw out another name, and now it, you know, can't get killed twice, I guess, but.
And it's whenever he's having that conversation with CT, I'm listening to him, and obviously we know what the truth is, but like what he's saying is right. His tactics, they have got two traitors. They did block a shield. You know, they did use a shield to block a murder. Like, he has been somewhat right, but he's also been lying and being caught lying.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is he keeps doing these like moves where he has to lie to get these moves done.
Mm-hmm. At a certain point, people aren't going to believe you whether it's the right thing or not.
Well, and I think people just people don't like the pivoting, right? The back and forth. And I said this one, Anthony, stop. Anyways, the pivoting is what's killing him, but I mean, he's still around.
Still around.
He's like the town drunk who never gets arrested. It's because he can't drive.
He's Davy Stone in 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah. He's gonna get banished real soon if he doesn't make a pivot in the right direction. So Phaedra, they get back in the Traitors' lair after the ceremony where they have 5 names. It's Bergie, it's MJ, it's Kate, it's Parvati, and it's Trishelle, able to get killed, murdered. And Phaedra doesn't hold back when she's talking to her. She goes, "Hey, stop acting like an ice queen."
Oh yeah, when they were meeting?
Yeah.
Then they started staring at like you. That was real tension.
It was awkward, but like it was more like, are they scrapping? Like, this is going down.
I don't know how, but here's the thing. First of all, they're trying to look tough. Phaedra, you have your makeup, you look like a clown, so you don't look tough. And then Parvati,
I do not go
like, dude, come on. That eye make okay. I have a lot of
She's
ants.
caking it on for sure.
She cakes it on like my crazy Polish ants.
She cakes it on.
Oh yeah,
she does.
It's a lot of lipstick. Those, like if she gives you a kid a kiss on the cheek, they gotta like wipe that shit off for days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyways, then Parvati's got those stupid headbands on. They're just glaring at each other. I'm like, this is the most unintimidating stare down of all time.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was a real tension though. So
it was like when you and G disagree on something.
Yeah,
you guys like are all disagreeing, like all staring at each other across the room.
It's super awkward. We literally just had it. Michael witnessed the first one.
Did you guys tell him to keep eating his peas?
Just like you.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, eat your peas, kid. Mom and dad are getting a divorce.
Stare at the table. I don't want to be next.
All right, so we know Parvati's fate, obviously, but do you think there was anything she could have done to change the opinion of the house before this?
No,
Or she's done, right?
yeah,
It's a wrap. That's the one thing about this game is like because you can't fight and because you're getting banished, like when you're dead, you're
This
done.
is a lot like Big Brother. Just it's a lot a bit different, but it in the sense that the competitions don't have a whole lot to do with you staying in the house.
100%. You can't, like the shield can only hold you for so long.
Yeah, and some people
That's
like
what
mayo.
another reason why the challenge is the greatest game that you could ever play.
Yeah, because you can be against the whole house. Everyone could want you gone, but you still get to defend yourself at the end of the day.
I love it so much. Like the fact that no one can send you in on a technicality.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it yourself.
It's awesome. Okay, so they choose Bergie. Now, what did you think about this decision? And do you think it's the best decision for each of them, for them to collectively? Like, what did you think? I have some thoughts on it, but go ahead.
I see at this point, because they're both kind of out there, the best kill needs to be someone that Phaedra's close with.
I agree. I think taking out Bergie was a good move, in terms of decreasing the numbers. But to me, like the murders have been too much about the numbers, which we've talked about. It's not enough about throwing off the house. It's a big problem, in my opinion.
Well, that's why
MJ or Trishelle would have been a good pick. But go ahead.
I think it was the beginning of episode 7, 8, one of them. But in this group of episodes, I think Peter says, or somebody says, Dan is or Parvati is a traitor, and so is Phaedra. Those are the only traitors right now. The fact that the whole house already knows that, it does point to it being strictly about numbers. And there's a lot of game that we're not seeing. I personally think maybe not, but the kills, you need to kill people who are in your group. So Phaedra should have killed Cherie or MJ a long time ago, but to keep the heat off of her. But I think she feels really protected by her group and doesn't want to go after
Well,
them.
that goes to your thing, which is they want to get there together when like this isn't a game that you can win together. It's not a game that you can win together.
No.
And if it is, then you should have recruited Sheree when you had the chance.
Well, so all the faithfuls do win together. If they're all there at the end, they split the money. If there's 2 traitors there at the end, they split the money.
Well, that's my point for Phaedra to kill Sheree is because like
Get rid of her because it's not going to look like,
unless you're going to recruit her,
Right.
which you had the chance. You had the chance to recruit her. Unless you're going to recruit her, you can't win with her. So you're going to bring her as long as possible, and you're just hurting your game, in my opinion, by not killing her.
ridiculous.
To me, it was crazy.
But episode 8 does start with CT wearing Austin Powers' shirt.
I saw that. You know what he looked like? He looked like a fruit by the foot, the tie-dye color one.
He did. Yeah, he did. He looked like Chevy Chase in Vegas Vacation.
That's great. So at breakfast, he literally spills his tea or his hot water onto Sheree. I don't know. It was funny because like I was like, is this implicating or is he like literally just nervous or?
I think it's just early in the morning.
Yeah, just groggy.
Yeah, he's groggy, dude.
Phaedra walks in and immediately gets a kiss on the cheek. It's one of these, just right on the cheek from CT. He knows how to politic for sure. She calls Peter Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock the Dick.
Yeah.
That was great.
She's on one that morning.
Kate, in her interview, she goes, all these people are trusting me. They shouldn't trust me. I throw them in the moat for like $10. She's funny, man.
She kills me. She's great TV. She is great TV.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a great competitor. I think she's an awesome faithful, but she's great TV.
Yeah, no, it's funny. At first, I didn't like watching her because I'm like, this girl's annoying. But then I realized like she literally is the ditz of the house, and it's absolutely hysterical.
And she's a bitch.
Yeah, is she actually secretly smart?
I think so.
Yeah.
Lazy but smart.
Yeah, I think she's secretly smart. Plays dumb. So at breakfast, we figure out it's Bergie who got killed. Wolzia, what'd you think of Bergie's game?
I didn't think much about Bergie's game besides he looked nervous all the time. Honestly, when you look at Bergie, you just saw him being Pete's shield, really.
Mm-hmm.
He just was a Pete's yes man.
Would you ever want to see him on TV again? How about if he came on the challenge? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if he'd do really well on the challenge.
I don't think
he
so
looks
either.
really nervous.
He does look nervous.
Like a chicken.
He'd have a tough time in that house. He barely had
Chickens are nervous animals.
He barely.
So are geese. He probably craps like a geese. Bergie always has a diaper on, I feel like.
I don't know if you've seen. He's got an attractive girlfriend. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. Yeah, you're
Which
not
show
on
is he from? Is he a bachelor?
Love Island.
Who casted him for a Love Island?
I don't know.
Ginger edition.
Yeah.
Love Island, Ireland.
What? I'm Weston Bergman's clone here.
Yeah.
Name's Bergie.
Oh, dude.
Make it less obvious.
Yeah, Wes created that was his first experiment. Failed. So then he went and made Zara.
Oh man. So
Just getting the kinks out with this one.
after
There's
breakfast,
supposed to be a CT and Wes combo, and it came out Bergie, and he was like, "Well, back to the drawing board."
that's great.
Is it great?
He made it,
It's
yeah, because
crazy.
he made her know it's great because he
amazing.
literally made him a swimmer too. So
We all started as swimmers, bro.
after breakfast, Trishelle makes a strong effort to convince Peter to set his sights on Phaedra. Using
She's right.
Hey,
And nothing she didn't bring up isn't true. Phaedra is the worst at breakfast because everyone that comes in, she's like, "Oh hey, oh
Yeah.
hi, oh no."
so you thought that was legit? You thought like her reactions, like she didn't look worried, like you thought that was a good call out?
Trishelle?
Yeah. What she
Well,
said?
she's
like-
right.
yeah.
And all the reasons why. I mean, here's the thing. Everything that she said is true, down to the eye twitch. Phaedra saying, "I've never heard anyone say that." How have you never heard anyone say that? I've watched it 7 times already this episode.
She
It
does have
happens
a
when
twitch.
she lies.
Yeah, she does have a twitch.
Yeah, and her being like, "I've never heard that." Bullshit.
Well, she does a good job in that episode of turning the tables. I'm not frantic like you. And like she's a
is.
galvanizer.
She is. Well, that she's a lawyer
Yeah. She knows how to make an argument.
and she can lie.
For sure.
Lawyers, politicians,
So
Johns.
MJ kind of exposes this conversation that essentially like Peter goes to Parvati and tells her, "Hey, I don't think you're a traitor anymore, blah blah blah."
Yeah, they're just doing it to save his ass.
MJ exposed
Which
the
is
conversation.
stupid. It's so stupid.
Phaedra tells Sheree and John like, "Hey, like, you know, come on guys, Peter's on some weird shit." In the car ride, Trishelle tells Parvati falsely that she doesn't necessarily believe she's a traitor. So they're going along with this thing, and they're selling it hard.
Yeah.
That like, oh yeah, no, we're not on you anymore, Parvati. Like, come on, we're not stupid here.
Yeah.
They pull up to the cabin where Dr. Will's waiting. What did you think about this?
Dr. Will looks like Willy Wonka.
He does. He does.
There's Sandra again. I know you, Dr. Will. Shut up.
No,
Why don't you go climb that tree, ninja?
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about like confirming to the world you're everything every castmate said about you when she did that. Anyways, this isn't about Ninja. This is about Sandra.
No, it's not. So their daily mission is to escape this cabin. And their safe word is haggis. First of all, if they give you a safe word, it's not gonna be good.
Just better make sure you can pronounce it. It's not Vanderflugen.
Vandervlogen.
Bring out the Flugenizer.
I don't need a safe word.
Nightclub Vandersex.
So yeah, if they escape or if they leave the cabin, they deduct $1,000 from their total. Blah blah blah. They started out. They find out that they have to go through these tunnels and there's lights. It's a bunch of crazy shit. But it's nuts when they start bringing in the maggots and the roaches and the rats and the frogs. What did you think about this? Would you be able to survive in this?
I mean, I would do it. I would hate it.
Oh.
I would do it. I would never. I mean, here's the thing. I look at it like if CT did it and Trishelle did it,
Trishelle won Fear Factor, dude.
I could do that. I would hate it. I'd scream. It's not like I'd be like, yeah, pour some maggots on me. I would despise it and I'd be sick to my stomach and I would scream.
I would have been.
Not yell. I would scream.
Oh my god.
I would probably cry, but I would do it.
This is a nightmare. To
How
me.
about
I would.
Kevin gets stuck in there? He's like, I'm the only one.
I can't do this,
Just, like,
guys.
just getting eaten by mice and
Oh my
roaches.
gosh. And,
The worst.
I can't
no,
even think about
the
it,
worst
bro.
part for me is the rats and the mice. I can do any of that. Like roaches don't bother me. I would kill them if I saw them. I'd slap them. Maggots are disgusting. You've seen maggots
Yes.
in real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No. This.
Like you've seen maggots. Like you open the door and there's maggots.
Haven't seen Jemmy. I have seen maggots, so
Yeah.
I guess I have seen Jemmy.
Samesies.
No, dude. This is my worst nightmare. I would have been the first out of there for sure. I
Oh,
would.
yeah.
I would have been.
Yeah,
I'd have been walking
the big sissy.
the big pussy.
Yeah, the big puss.
Yeah. The big wussy
Yeah.
puss.
The big scream.
No, yeah. I'd have been embarrassed. I'd embarrass myself.
I would
I
embarrass
just did.
myself, but I don't know if I would have walked out.
Oh no, I'm walking out and I do not care. Look, that's the funny thing is like, I think Phaedra's the second person to walk out of there. Dr. Will's like, you just cost your team $1,000. Like, dog, she pisses $1,000. You think she gives a fuck? There's maggots and there's spiders and whatever the crazy shit. they had in
Honestly,
there.
I wish Dr. Will was actually a member of this show. I wish he was on the show because he's great TV.
Yeah, was
He's
he have a good
hysterical.
season?
I don't know, because I thought Dan would, but apparently, and I thought Janelle would, but Big Brother players don't apparently do well. And
When did he go on Big Brother? Was he before Dan? After?
Will was on Dr. Will was on season 2,
Oh,
and then
what?
he won season 2.
Oh, he looks good. He must be old.
I think he's like maybe 50.
Oh yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
He really does. He looks 37, 38.
Well, I think he's a plastic surgeon, isn't he?
Oh, that makes sense. I don't know.
His hair, maybe his hair does not look 37.
No, it's like white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's whitewashed. Anyways, he won season 2, I believe. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, but I believe it was season 2. Then he came back on season 7, which was like an all-star season, and he got ousted right away because everyone was afraid of him.
Dude, it's funny. Like
He hooked up with Janelle, I think, back in the day, too.
Oh, that's a nice one.
I think. I'm not sure.
So look, it's actually funny. It's making me think like how like NBA players compare like, you know, like people in the 70s and 80s to people now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, like they think, oh, he was the best player ever. But like you get into this game and it's like right on TV's totally passed you by.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so MJ Phaedra first to leave. I don't care. I'm quitting this. CT gives Trishelle opportunity to get the shield, so she's good there.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. After the mission, Parvati gets emotional with John.
I hated that.
Yeah, it was weird.
I hated it, but it was good acting.
He sniffed her out.
Yeah, it was great acting, but was it? Maybe it wasn't.
Not really.
But here's the thing: it's great acting if you can make yourself cry.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I don't have that in the repertoire.
I got it, but you know, you gotta wait. Hold on.
You can make yourself cry at any point.
I mean, you gotta prep it, but yeah.
If you gave me an hour and a half, I might be able to make myself cry. I would just, yeah, but I don't know if I could do it like on the spot. That was pretty impressive.
It was. So let's go to the round table where Trishelle kind of starts what I call the battle of the berets. Trishelle
You're showing them stupid hats.
versus Phaedra.
But here's the thing: that sets the vibe for the whole season.
Yeah.
You know,
The traitors. So Trishelle's first argument was Phaedra hasn't reacted at breakfast and she isn't worried about
which
being
is tough
murdered.
to say. I don't really. That's a hard
Yeah.
one to say, but it is true.
Kate loved it when she's like, "I'm not frantic like you." Kate loved it. She was in love with that. Trishelle then explains that Dan wanted to give the house some traitor blood. Kevin chimes in about the Twitch, and of course, Trishelle jumps on board. So
Trishelle brought that up before. Mm-hmm. She brought it up when she was explaining to other people like
The
Peter
Twitch?
and stuff. She brought the Twitch up.
Yeah.
And I noticed the Twitch on like the first or second episode. I thought, ooh,
there's a tell.
if I played poker, that would be a red flag.
Yeah.
But
So
I don't because I don't gamble.
So when CT, he kind of sets the table on fire when he asks John his opinion, and then John gets everybody on board.
How about that? CT was like, yeah, here's what I think, John.
What
John
do you think,
does have
John?
John has eloquent speeches.
He does. He knows how to say something worded the right way. Better than I can. He's articulate. I'm not.
Yeah. Whatever, John.
Whatever, John.
John sucks.
A mistress of murder.
Yeah. Just using words. Well, he probably
English accent, dude.
and he probably read a lot of books.
Yep. You would hope. You would hope. So during the voting, Parvati's banished. I know. I love CT's line, which is like, I'm looking for traitors, not looking for love.
He voted for Parvati.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But here's the thing: Parvati and Phaedra both threw votes at each other. That to me is a telltale sign, kind of, because they're both throwing votes at each other. They're the two that are up. I don't know. I think in Phaedra's defense, you want Parvati there, don't you? Because isn't she the more obvious, less protected traitor? Becoming the only, well,
That's a good point.
I don't know. That's the thing is I'm so confused now because things I think of now, I'm like, well, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want another traitor there so you're not the only one? I would personally let the other traitor make every decision.
In this particular
Or be
case,
like, who do you want? And I would always want it to be someone who was close to me so everyone would be, but then if it's too many people that are close to you, now you're Hillary Clinton.
People got to die.
Yeah. She personally knows 275 people that committed suicide.
It's a lot of people to know they kill themselves.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, no. I think like if you're Phaedra, you don't necessarily want her there because the idea would be you'd get to replace them. And if you're really, really careful about who you choose to recruit.
So you actually, when there's only one traitor, you do get to replace them automatically.
I
She
think.
knows that. So you know what? I like that. It's like Get rid of her.
Yeah, let me
this
make my own
Band-Aid has
choice.
been like, once you pull a Band-Aid off a couple of times, it's not really staying on anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she probably felt like Parvati was at that point. Get rid of that Band-Aid. Let me get a new
Let me get a brand new Band-Aid. It's gonna stay on straight.
But those two going at each other, I'm like, man, being a traitor comes down to being shady.
It does. That's the only way you can win is if you're being shady. So Phaedra is awarded an ultimatum. She chooses Kate. So what'd you think about that?
I think Kate is an obvious choice because I don't think she's the best choice. I would have picked John.
You'd have picked John.
I think so.
Okay. I like John.
Right?
So here's what I have right here.
Because I just feel like, I don't know. I think Kate's, again, very close to her, right? Because they're kind of on that east side.
And that's something that we said is
Or
why
Bravo, I'm sorry, on the Bravo
why would
side.
you choose somebody who has your back? Why would you to be a traitor?
Yeah.
They're already a number for you.
Yeah.
And they're a number that can die. I think
I would pick John because John had suspicions towards Phaedra as well. John would have been my pick, I think. Or
I like John. This is what I have. I
she
said
can't pick CT because they're too close.
well, to me, I think CT is one of, if not the perfect pick besides Peter. So for me, it's either Peter or CT. I think Peter's a good option because he's a perfect shield.
Yeah.
People are already on him, and he either dies.
Yeah, he doesn't get the option this time. He has to die.
The ultimatum is a
Yeah.
big deal.
Win or go home.
Yeah,
Pete,
we're gonna go home, Pete. And then with CT,
Skeeter.
he might be better because he has everyone's ear and he's known for essentially playing his own game. He's not gonna play his game based on his friends. So
How about how creepy Phaedra was when she was like, I think you're smart. I think you're clever. I think you're a crazy, cool killer with me. I was like, if some girl asked you on a date in that same energy, you'd be like, stage 7 clinger. No.
you would, I would say, sex is
crazy.
probably awesome.
Yeah, until you end up in her trunk.
Put me in the trunk,
Yeah.
Phaedra.
She's the type of girlfriend where like you're like, I love her, guys, but if I ever end up missing, check the trunk of her car.
Yep, and her house and her condo.
Yeah.
All of it.
Why do you have this extra room with 3 freezers back here, babe?
I hunt ox
Yeah.
in the wintertime. Okay, so look, I also kind of feel like Kate's innocence and humor is like what makes her likable.
Laissez-faire attitude, how she's just like, oh, whatever.
It only works if you're not a traitor.
Right.
Yeah, once you're a traitor, that's it. You're anxious. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. She wasn't given a choice. It's like, do you want to stay in the game?
That's
or do you want to go home? And you want to stay in the game.
Yeah, that's why if you're gonna go for John, if you're gonna go for Peter again, like now is the only time because that was gonna be another question. Is there anyone in the house that would choose to die? No, right? Of course not.
No. You ever play a game and choose to lose?
Like here, you can either play or you can lose.
Yeah, you can switch positions or you can lose.
What a weird thing. So I loved how I love how Kate's asking about like, oh yeah, like what happened before, and she's describing Dan as toast with no butter or jam.
Yeah. That was funny.
That was great.
He's not gonna like being on the podcast.
No, well, he doesn't have to know that. So
Probably sitting outside with a fucking cup on the wall listening to you talk shit about him. And how I think he's the greatest reality television show competitor of all time.
hey, if he listens to the show, which is free on YouTube, he would know how we feel about him. Okay, so we'll wrap this up real soon. So, how do you think Phaedra handled the situation? Because right after breakfast, she had a conversation with CT, and then Trishelle like comes in. This is the night after she tried to murder her. Like, how do you think she handled that? Like,
I think she's doing well. I think that I think it's tough once the bloodhounds start sniffing at you, right? It's really hard to turn the attentions a different direction. And that's what I'm seeing is she's doing the best she can with her experience as a lawyer, as a basketball wife. I'm sure there's a lot of lying that goes into that career.
who was she married to?
Wasn't she on Housewives of something?
Oh,
Or is
she's
that
in
basketball?
something. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm sure.
Maybe I have her show wrong and I'm an asshole at the end, but
There's some dramatics.
I think she's doing the best she can with the hand she's dealt at this point. But also, I don't think Parvati was the best. They should have picked someone else, and that would have kept her cleaner.
So that's the danger of letting someone else play their game, right? Like I think she did a good job of letting other people make the choices as a traitor, and then like
steer them in the direction, but make them think it's their choice.
yeah, make them think it's their choice. Because now she might not have picked Parvati. You know what I mean?
She definitely wouldn't have. I don't think that's her idea.
Yeah. So CT before the daily mission, Peter before the daily mission comes up to CT and says, "Hey, like, who are you leaning?" He looks him right in the dead in the eye and goes, "You, bro, you."
Yeah.
Do you think CT is not doing a good enough job of like kind of understanding that Pete has been right for the most part of this game, or he knows exactly what he's doing?
I think CT knows what he's doing, and I think everyone said Peter's name, and CT jumped on that bandwagon. I just think that he's playing the numbers.
Yeah, he's playing the numbers. Whether he's wrong or right, he's safe because he's playing with an open heart and an honest heart.
Right.
When in reality, he's puppet master.
Oh, for sure.
So the daily mission, they go to this church. It's kind of eerie. It's kind of weird. They have to shoot a crossbow through these stained glass windows.
And this is where Phaedra made her huge mistake.
Talk about it.
She should have just kept going in the order because
Even if they lose all the money.
even if you want to lose all the money, but Trishelle already made a play for you. So you reversing the order when it was clear that with what everyone was doing, she was going to be safe. They were all spot on with this. Phaedra, that was a huge mistake. It made you look like a traitor.
Even if it was Sandra who brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
So they spent
It means
7
it
shots.
either means you're a traitor or you're working with a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would why would you care?
So the logic was that the logic was they taken 7 shots at CT and lost whatever, $2,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And for that reason, okay, I'm gonna try to go for Trishelle. If you can sell that and you feel like you can sell that, to me, it's like I want to make sure I stay in line. I'm not doing anything that can be misconstrued as something going against the group, even if Sandra brought it up. In fact, it kind of gives you an opportunity to hold Sandra in check and be like, no, like we'll just do the fair thing.
Right.
Missed the opportunity for her. So, yeah. So CT, this is something that like if someone else does it, it could be brought up at the round table. But CT, whenever Alan asked him if he wants a shield, he goes, "Yeah, shields are cool. Shields are nice." If it's anyone else doing that, it's getting brought up at the round table. Like, why didn't you want a shield? Why didn't you? What? You're not afraid of dying?
Mm-hmm.
You're not afraid of being banished?
That is true.
So
that is a huge point. But that's what I'm saying. He's getting away with a lot.
Yes.
A lot of things that other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe because they trust him.
And look, we know CT's an actor.
That's true.
He's
I always forget that.
He's a trained actor. There he is. Welcome back to the Zach Nichols podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Zach Nichols.
And here with us is the hardest person to get in the studio. It's like trying to get friggin' Whitney Houston after she died in the studio.
That's not true.
Yeah,
you're giving me a bad runway already. I just got
We've been reaching out to you since we found out you were on Traitors. We were amped.
I was amped too, and then I get this email, and it's like back and forth, right? It's been chaotic.
And listen, you don't know us. You don't,
Right.
The reason I'm here is because I'm close with Pierre's cousin, and he sent me a text like, "Will you do my cousin's podcast?" I'm like, "For sure." And then things it's just crazy, right?
Right.
And then I email Pierre. He's like, "Oh, I didn't think you wanted to come on because we were bashing you on an episode." I'm like, I didn't even hear the episode, so like I'm coming in fresh.
Listen, there's some
we bashed everyone.
There's some.
I mean, here's the thing: we bashed me for episodes.
Yeah, no, there's some timeline things going on, but the fact is you're here in studio.
I'm excited to be here.
Mr. Dan Gheesling.
I love the studio audience, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
they
you
come
so
every single time.
It's impressive.
They're here, man.
It's impressive.
It's a lot of people. So thanks for coming through, man. Congratulations on being on the brand new season of Traitors, which you were the star for a couple weeks. How was that experience as a whole before we dive in?
It was, you know what? Going there, playing was awesome. Like, I feel like I'm the luckiest guy. I'm a normal guy. I get to go do something like that and come home to normal life. But after was really the shock for me.
Oh, yeah.
When we were there, everyone got along, like you make moves against each other, and then I get out and it's like, man, people are firing bullets at each other. Now, maybe I was naive. I just didn't expect this after stuff because it wasn't like that when we were there at all.
Right.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
I watched both of your seasons of Big Brother.
Okay.
In the last year, because I didn't watch Big Brother until in the last year. I started watching Paulie and Josh, and so I went back. People were like, "You got to watch this season. You got to watch that season." And if I'm not mistaken, your last season of Big Brother was in 2012.
So it's been a while.
So social media has also changed.
It's
Just a little bit.
That's the biggest point we made. Is I was like, things have changed a lot since you were last on TV, and I think one of the biggest ones is that there's people who have done numerous shows. Right? You did the 2 seasons of Big Brother, and then
disappeared.
Did you ever get asked to do anything else?
Yeah. I would get pitched probably a show a year, show every other year, and it's just like, no. Like, I don't want to do Amazing Race.
Why?
Because it's not me. Like,
okay.
My aspirations were never to go and do the next show. For me, it was, as a kid, I saw Big Brother. I loved it. I love Survivor. That's what was like my true love. But I'm like, I'm not gonna survive 40 days.
I'm
and
not
like,
starving.
Yeah.
I'm not-
You're real with yourself.
yeah, but I'm like Big Brother. I'm like the dude that I saw win. I'm like, he's not athletic. He just can outthink people. And I'm like, I can do that. So I get on, I win, and then I get invited again. And it was fun, but I didn't want to do like the challenge reach out. I don't want to do
You
that.
got the reach out.
Yeah,
You got a
but-
call from the challenge?
Yeah, and I've
Okay.
never seen it, but my impression of it is that it's like Big Brother with alcohol, and I just see clips of dudes with black helmets on just mashing each other's brains
Yeah.
out. I'm like, you guys saw me walk in, like your 2-year-old son is the same size as
Nah,
you. You know what I
He's
mean?
dense. He is dense. I'll give you that. He's
But,
a big
like,
kid.
But
So-
like I give you a lot of first of all, like that is a call that people die for
Yeah.
and like really, really yearn for. So the fact that you turned it down says a lot about you and
It was a long
Just-
time ago. I
but
mean, it was
still,
like
doesn't
whatever,
matter.
10 years ago, whatever it is. I mean, you're still gonna do the opportunities that are right for you. That says a lot about your character.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I think I'm just self-aware. You know, like I got an email for the Traitors last season. I read like the first 2 sentences, delete. Because like I don't to me to come back, like I gotta understand what's going on. And the first season of Traitors, you read the description, you're like, eh. And then you watch the show and
Me
you're
too,
like,
that's the-
it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the everything cinematography, it was amazing. And so then when
It
they
is a
reached
cool
out again,
project to be a part of.
yeah, it felt special
Mhm.
and different, but most importantly, it was the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a new game. It's not what I'm comfortable with, but I want to give it a shot.
Did you feel pressure because of your success on Big Brother to be a traitor? Because I feel like if you go in saying you want to be a traitor, you're a gamer. Because that's a tough role.
It was a lot harder than I thought, but I didn't want to come out of retirement and sit on the sidelines. And I just felt like if you're a faithful, like you're just waiting to get picked off.
Well, yeah, and this all makes sense because it's not about the it's not necessarily about the money for you. You choose games that you want to play that you think you can win. If it was about the money for you, you'd have done Amazing Race, you'd have done Survivor, you would have done the challenge just to get that check, right?
Yeah.
But you just want to go and you want to
Well,
compete.
well, don't get me wrong, because I still got to work. But to me,
I'm not saying you're. Yeah, I'm just saying
the money's got to be right for
Right.
me to even get in the door.
Gotcha.
You know?
And because I just think I would, if I got chosen to be a traitor, I'd be like, at first I thought I would love it. Now I know I would probably not be good at it. I don't know. There's too many angles for me. And there's no, hey, you still got to take me out and eliminate. That's where I was like, you got to take me out, right?
Yeah.
I liked that about the challenge. But I also think I could be a good faithful because I'm really good at riding that line and just kind of staying out of everyone's hair. Being a traitor, it seems so difficult because not only are you trying to work with someone, you're also trying to jockey with that other traitor to be like, hey, eventually one of us is going to get found out. And not only I'm working with you, but I got to make sure that when they do start to get on our trail, they're sniffing your ass, not mine.
Yeah, it's me and you. And
Right.
hey, sorry, Pierre, you're the first one to go because it's. And I've seen a few of the season. I haven't seen them all. But at some point, a traitor has to go, right? It's not like all 3 traitors are all 4.
Never.
They're not making it to the end.
Right.
So it's just, for me, that one of the shocks was that when you make that move, like people on social media didn't understand that it wasn't a petty move. Like that's not how I play. Like I'm not making a move to be petty. I'm making a move because you're in my way to win.
Yeah, we'll get
Well,
that
I see what you're-
deeply. But go ahead.
I don't think we hated it on the move again. You did because you love Phaedra.
I did, and I'll get into my
But
reasons why.
I was like, you're scrambling here because here's that, like you're scrambling here. So I understood the get a traitor out because then I understood that.
Of course.
That wasn't your mistake. Your mistake was not committing to something sooner.
Right. Yeah. No. My issue was. I think my issue was like we're like 5 episodes in. You know, we're like literally like whenever you're out. You know, whenever you got like
Yeah,
whenever
6, but it's close.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta at least give me the full. Yeah.
Thank you. It's another credit to how long you were there. So like to me, I didn't feel the preparation in setting it up. So it seemed like it was you're going home, bro. Regardless, like
Yeah.
you're not winning this game, in my opinion. Like you're just not going to. So to take her down with you, I did not like it. You know,
Yeah.
I did not like it, and I thought that she had played a great game, and that was the only sense of just a little chink in her armor. Look, it's like a windshield here in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
There's a small crack, but then in the wintertime is going to get real cold and it's going to crack fast. So like, I just didn't like that part, but I get it.
But you're
though.
making the assumption that I'm going to that round table and I'm thinking I'm dead. Like you said, you watched the last 2 seasons of Big Brother. There's times when like my back's against the wall, but I'm never thinking I'm out of this game. And so even though things were like rocky, I'm like, okay, I can pin these things on Phaedra. If this works, I'll see at the end of the game. It
Right.
just didn't work out.
She
Yeah.
had too many people that were her friends.
I waited too long. to
Yeah, you
strike.
waited too long.
Yeah.
And like I said, so I really thought that the mistake on your part, because giving them traitor blood is 100% what you had to do to stay in the game. I thought using maybe Parvati was the one that gave you the cup, or that gave the cup, like maybe throwing something that, because it's a legit thing that people still haven't figured out to this day.
Yeah, plant a seed like that.
Yeah.
But you never, I mean, listen, this is like.
No,
It
of
was-
course.
it was
We're playing
like-
retrospective.
It was hectic. It was a lot harder than I thought. But talking about that, one thing that shocked me was that when Alan came in and it was like, someone's been poisoned, we don't know who yet. No one stepped back and said, hey, did someone give you a cup? Did someone give you a plate? That was never discussed. And I was like, that would be the first thing I would say as a faithful. And it just kind of slipped by. But the game was so fast, and I never really adapted well to it.
I think so. We've been covering 3 episodes at a time, and obviously we're watching it in real time. And like, first episode, I would love to be a traitor. I think it'd be good at it. Second, no, this is getting tough. He came in today like, dude, I do not want to have the stress on me.
No, I couldn't. I don't think it would be the stress. It would be keeping my lies straight, number one. But also, there's like you probably watched Sari do it. She made it look effortless.
Masterclass.
So it's like you have to push, but have someone being like, almost what Bergie did with, like Bergie would have been, if Bergie was a traitor, he'd been playing perfect because he was letting Pete do everything. And he was there too, but it was Pete. And then you got to back off, right? And but Sari made it look easy, and it just, there's too many angles for me without the ability to just, for me, it was always like, well, fuck it, I'm going into elimination round, and you got to get me out that way. That always was comforting, but I would be a good faithful. I would suck at being a traitor. But we got to talk about this, because this was what got me so fired up and probably so critical on you later in the game was, first of all, like they say a lot of times, like if they talk about the best Big Brother player of all time, your name always gets brought up.
Round of applause for Dan Gheesling, please.
Regardless, they always are going to bring you up. So I'm fired up. Andrew from Michigan, big Michigan. I mean, I'm from Michigan, so I always want to root for the people from Michigan. And then you eliminated Bananas very first. You didn't even give this guy, who's got more reality television experience than anybody else, probably besides Flavor Flay, and you got rid of him first. And so everyone, including me and him, were like, dude, Dan came out of retirement with a fucking rocket ship shoved up his ass.
Yeah, dude.
Like, this guy came in and said, because Johnny just got done. Did you watch House of Villains?
No, I don't watch a ton of
It was a
TV.
little bit more like silly, like slapstick summer camp type thing.
Yeah.
But Johnny ran the game and he played mental games with everyone. So he's coming hot off of that. And here you come and you're like, I'm not even going to give you a chance to open your mouth. Boom. See ya. You know that hurt him.
But that's the thing. I don't think like that. I don't think like, let me hurt your feelings. I'm thinking, okay, here's a dude that's won 7, 8 shows.
Yeah, 7. Don't give me.
And, whatever. And on top of that, he's got his boy in there with him, CT. One of them has to go. And at that point, you have limited time. I connected a little bit more with CT, where I'm like, okay, he seems like a little bit more even keeled. Where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I see Bananas at this round table. I'm thinking we're good, and it just all of a sudden throws a curveball. And like, so to me, the way I look at it is, if I'm coming after you day one, it's out of respect. It's because
No, for sure.
Yeah, but that was not.
Yeah.
That message was not received.
Well,
apparently,
I don't think someone who, like, we all know Johnny loves the light. He loves the shine of the cameras. You sent him home before he even got to wear his second outfit. Are you kidding me? That absolutely destroyed him. He actually almost had some emotion in his forehead.
But
You know what I'm
here's the
saying?
thing, it's like, you're in the way of winning. Like, I may like you, but if you're in my way, and
Listen.
I liked him, and that was the thing for me. I get out and
Yeah.
he's like blasting me. I'm like, bro, I thought we were cool, but
I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I knew as soon as you did that, I'm like,
it's not personal.
that's all-
To
no,
me,
it's not to you, but to him, that was literally the worst thing you can do to Johnny is get rid of him first. That is, like, it's so funny. So everyone was like, holy shit, Dan is here to play. And I think then it just got like, kind of like anyone who's in that position, you have to deal with so many conversations coming at you, and you have to be careful what you say. And I almost think your mind was like, the less I give them, the less they're going to suspect me. But then it was like, until you didn't give them anything, then they're like, well, shit. The only person who's not tag teaming or jumping on a bandwagon was Dan.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of killed you. And that's where I was like, it was just so, no offense, it was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Like, because I literally Because I mean, dude, you faked your own funeral on national TV.
It's hard to top.
You
You
were
mean,
like,
like, it's like-
you were
it's
the
hard
New
to
York
top.
Times as like they literally there was a. I mean, there's an article that said best Big Brother player ever. So we're all like, here we go, grab your popcorn, and you go. I got a secret, but I'll tell you guys tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon. Can't tell you, but I definitely have it
What are you
all.
thinking? Oh, I'm gonna sleep on it a little bit. I'll sleep on it a little bit.
But you know what you did? The wave that you created when you threw up both the other traitors is now it just gave them hell to deal with.
But that what my intention was my whole strategy once because when I come into one of these situations, I have a really slow burning game and I get
Which
to,
is smart.
Yeah, but like I'm just not the person to walk in a room with 20 people and fight and like to talk. I'm one-on-one, couple people at a
Yeah.
time. So I did that. But my move was to be quiet so that I don't know the saying, but the more quiet you are, the more respected when you talk. Like
Yeah.
I'm not throwing crazy
Yeah.
theories out there.
Your words mean more when they're few and far between.
That's what I was trying to build up. That plays into my personality. And then so I thought, okay, hey, I'm a quiet faithful. When I say a name, and if I prove to them that I get it right as a traitor, why wouldn't they listen to me the rest of the game? I just, I didn't execute it well. I think it was timed late. And to me, that's only part of it. The other part is some of these players are dogs. Like
That's what
Phaedra carved me up.
My
You know
next
what I mean?
question was literally going to be reality TV. Do you feel like it's gotten more savage? The savagery has gone way up since you've left reality TV. People have stolen $1 million from a partner. People have done a lot of backstabbing things. Whereas maybe it wasn't. Don't you feel like the original idea of reality TV was a fun-loving slapstick comedy summer camp type thing? And now it's become just almost like a savage game, everything.
I think the first 2 times I was on reality TV was with like civilians. I guess that's the term. Like just
No, that's fine. That's
No-
actually
yeah,
very
like
everyone starts out as a civilian.
yeah, random. This one, like
Almost.
seasoned vets, and
yeah.
I never thought that.
That's a good point.
I never took that into account. Like Phaedra's
Well,
been
we
on
did-
TV her whole life,
Right, and we didn't either. As
Yeah.
like we're thinking, this guy, he's won. You're right. He's won Big Brother twice, almost. Second once, one first. I mean, either way, that's tough to do. Big Brother's tough. But at the same time, it's like you're right. You did great twice, but you have those two times.
Yeah.
Everyone else has played this game or been on TV year after year after year against other reality television. They've been sharp and steel, so or iron on iron, or how you say it.
I got 2 things. So number one, I want to ask you the rumor directly. Okay, did you demand that you had to be a traitor to come on the show?
No. So
Okay, I just
so
wanna
the
make
way
sure.
it worked is when they pitched me, I'm with the 2 showrunners, and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to be, faithful or traitor?" I'm like, "Look, I'm not coming out of retirement to be a faithful." They're like, "Well, we can't promise you that." The other thing they told me is they're like, "Hey, this is not like." They're like, "What's your strategy?" I'm like, laying it out, da 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 da. And they're like, "Dan, this is not that kind of game. This is a much faster game." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Like, I got this." So they like told me what I was gonna do is not gonna work. So, anyways, I didn't know. And then like the day before we get put in the castle, the head of NBC and the head of Studio Lambert walk in. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to be a faithful or a traitor?"
The head of NBC.
Well, NBC Unscripted.
Well, for sure.
Yeah,
Either way.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm in my pajamas. Like, I didn't, I'm like, what? Like, normally you get a heads up if they're coming. And they're like, "What do you want to be?" And I pitched them on why I should be a traitor. And they started laughing. And I'm like, "So am I a traitor?" And they're like, "We don't know yet." I go, "What do you mean we don't know yet? We're about to go in the castle tomorrow." And then they said they didn't decide until like the final 15 hour before,
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's not just it's a lot of people have to see the pictures, see the interviews. They ship them back to headquarters, and then there's a table of people who watch it all. It's not just 2 people making that decision. They put a lot of thought into it.
Right.
Sure.
But I mean, I think you were the obvious choice.
I mean, I was so glad I had the opportunity to do that because otherwise it could have worked out like, your buddy, where like I could have been the first one bounced. And at least
Right.
for me,
My
like,
buddy. Yeah, I love how you won't even say his name.
Your buddy. Yeah, no.
but we have the reunion to shoot. So I'll like,
you haven't shot that?
no,
okay.
I leave tomorrow to go shoot the reunion.
Thanks for making time for us,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me.
Reunions are fun. You're just gonna have to talk to Bananas for a little bit. He's gonna put. on
But
a show.
here's the thing.
He's a performer.
Here's the thing. I like all the hard thing for me was in Big Brother. There's people you're like, "Man, I can't wait to get this person out of here." Like they're they're grinding me. I liked everyone there. Bananas included, Phaedra.
Yeah.
Like I liked everyone. So
Right.
it was a little shock to me to
Yeah.
see everyone so
No,
upset.
for sure. Well, that was the second thing I was gonna say. Like in today's day and age, especially with the challenge, talking shit and literally trying to embarrass someone else is name of the game.
But for me, it's not. Like,
Yeah.
To me, and I think like I'll play these games. I'm gonna play as hard as I can against you, but I'm not gonna rip on you, where you're from, your like that's just not me.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I know that's probably the
I
antithesis
was
of like
brought up in a different type of reality television.
MTV and CBS,
Yeah.
we talked about a lot, especially with CBS
Well,
going to the challenge.
I've been through that. Like people always come at me, but that's just not me. You know,
Yeah.
like that's not who I am. So
Yeah, no, I have a mouth on me. I have a sharp tongue, so I fit well into that challenge group. So much so that production hates me.
Yeah. So Janelle, who you played Big Brother with, right? She comes on this show hot, just super selfish and always
Yeah.
going for shields.
She
and
was like the
boxing-
But it's not-
She was
boxing
the
out.
opposite of you.
But it's not selfish. That's who she is. She just wants to win everything at all times, regardless of how it will look from a strategic standpoint. That's who
and-
she is.
Hey, look, I don't got a problem with it.
Yeah.
I love when she boxed out Ekin-Su for this for the
Yeah,
shield. She put her hip on hip and she made sure she was getting that.
But that's
that
why she's
shield.
never won a show. That's why she gets close. Is because I think she makes herself too big of a target.
Always. I mean, she's always going to be a huge target, but the difference with her is she can win her way
Oh, yeah.
out of a lot of
Oh,
situations.
for
you
sure.
know?
But when
That's
you
such a
win
big
that
deal.
much, people start to see it. You know.
Yeah, no.
That Big Brother's a game I'd be gone like second or first probably.
Yeah.
I would suck at Big Brother.
Well, I like, don't get me wrong, like there's something really, really that you just love about someone who wears their heart on their sleeve. Their problem is if you wear your heart on your sleeve and you're wrong, that backlash, that wave, I remember when you said that wave comes back hard. Like when it comes back, it comes back. And she would have been a big asset to this house had she stuck around. Same thing with Johnny had he stuck around, but you made sure that both of them didn't last as long as you
Well,
did.
and that's the thing. When Janelle came at me, it'd be like, you guys going at each other. Like, really? Like, I thought we had this understanding of like, no matter what, I'm not murdering Janelle. Like, it's just not happening. If her name comes up just because we'd played together, you know, we're friends in real life, it just feel like it went until the very end. So when she came at me, I was just like, I got it. Like, I not mad at her, but I was just like,
Okay,
yeah, bro,
yeah.
there was other people we could have went
Kind of,
after.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing with friends a lot of times is you play the game and it's like, okay, who's gonna make the first move?
Yeah.
And he didn't expect it. I wouldn't either.
If
but
me and Zach are on a show together, I'm kicking his ass.
right away.
You old it. No, so have you been watching since you've been off?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
Okay, cool. So
it's been a different experience though, because in Big Brother, you don't have to watch it. When you get off, it's over because it's live.
Well, not you. I mean, everyone else has to watch it.
Now when you make it to the final
maybe
two.
in your case, and Cody and Nicole, a few other people, but
Jury, what's the
besides
jury?
just the greats, everyone else can watch a majority of the season.
I don't even know what a jury is.
So this was like, I was bummed I didn't win, right? Like to me, it's
course.
like
No one wants to lose.
win or failure, and then you get over it, and then the show's not airing, so you're like, okay, I'm over it. It's like
Life
I did my
moves
best,
on.
yeah. And then the show airs, and you're like, okay. And then
Pull that.
another week comes, and it's like every week you're reliving, like, man, here's my list of 15 things I wish I would have done different. Let me add number 16.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
But so it was a humbling experience for sure.
Well, I mean, like we said, 12 years since you were on TV, which is crazy to me because, I mean, I guess were you married when you got into reality television?
First one, no. Second one, yes.
Yeah, because that's when it starts to get tough when you got to leave wife and kids. And I understand saying no to everything else when you have wife and kids because I've said no to everything. And I had a lot more time as a single person. But yeah, I just think like I guess, it's been a while and
Well, it's awesome to see like
I know
how
what you're gonna say. You're gonna say,
What?
dude? How come they're inviting you after 10 years? That's
No,
what you-
no,
it's
not at
like-
all.
I was hyped.
He was.
No, I get it.
That
I
is
was like, this
definitely-
guy's going to kill him.
No. That is definitely not. It's in fact, he made a very big point to say like, look at all these reality TV stars that are coming back, and we're
was
seeing
awesome.
it in the challenge where like a lot of these older cats are coming back and like, no, we're all for it because you guys are what made reality TV so great in the first place.
Well, the thing that's mind blowing to me is that it took Sharon Vaughn, who's the head of NBC Unscripted. She's the first person to take like known entities that maybe have been dormant, but people know and like, and at least
So smart.
and put them in the same show. Like, how has this never happened? It really like
Well, a lot of the contracts that people have to sign, you have exclusivity, this and that.
yeah, but usually like a year, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, but you're right. It's crazy that it's taken this long to get this.
Did you play against any Big Brother people?
I played against Paulie.
Okay.
I played against Josh. Help me with this.
Natalie.
Natalie. She hated me.
That's the one I always remember.
Oh, Victor.
Natalie.
Natalie Negrati. She was
Okay.
on
Okay. She's Venezuelan, right?
Yes,
My grandma.
yeah.
My grandma's from there.
We haven't played, but we we've interviewed a few Big Brother people and as well too. Yeah. How do you think that game corresponds to? I know you haven't watched a ton of the challenge, but Traitors or
You don't watch the challenge?
I haven't watched anything. The only thing I watched after, so like CT told me about this backpack thing.
You never saw that?
I never saw that.
What
like,
did you think when you saw it?
Oh, I was just like, bro, like, I saw CT as a kid on Real World,
Paris.
and it was like, and like all these scenes.
Angry
and
all
I
the
met
time.
him in real life. I'm like, this dude's so chill, and it's like and then when I went and saw that clip, I'm like, that's how I remember CT, and when I met him, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
But he's like,
It
just,
takes a while to get him angry, and Johnny had been doing that for years. Trust me. And also, like the first time I met CT was in the airport for Rivals 2, and same thing. He got that next day he got in a fight with like 7 people in the pool. But when I met him, he came up to me, gave me like a dapped it up hug. We had a meal. He was really cool, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Is he like? I don't think I understand because I don't understand. I've never watched Challenge. Is he like Mount Rushmore Challenge, or is he just well respected in like the MTV?
He is the challenger of challengers.
He's the guy.
He is him and the Mount Rushmore. Him and Bananas are always there, but I think people would give CT the nod
Really?
because even though he's won less, his game it's almost like the Babe Ruth effect or the Bo Jackson effect. CT, like the backpack thing.
Yeah.
When you have that type of allure to your game,
Yeah.
people are gonna always like Johnny wins, but Johnny wins like Cal Ripken won. Like they're doing the work,
Playing a lot of
game. CT has those home run hits, those like,
iconic moments.
those iconic moments that become like folktale. Like him putting Bananas on his back. Like I watched it live when it happened on the show. And I just remember as it happened, I didn't even notice myself standing up, staring at the TV. Like it was because like strapping another human to your back, even if they're less weight than you just see him like, and then he gets them. And I'm like, that takes some Herculean strength.
Well, that's interesting to me because CT to me seems so like humble.
He is.
Like you saying that he's the guy. I'm like, that's interesting to me because versus the others.
He's like a mystical creature on the challenge.
Really? So he's like super well revered. Everyone loves him.
Oh yeah. So like from a fan perspective, like as I talk to a lot of fans, if you ask somebody to say they're Mount Rushmore, the probability that he's not on it, if you name 4 guys, is 0%.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just a matter of 1, 2, 3, or 4 for a lot of them. And most of the time it's not even 4.
That intimidating CT, that's who it was. But as he like got more and more respected in the game, he almost became more and more like that, like just really awesome
like
uncle,
rootable, like
uncle who will teach you things and help you with things, but then will take you in the backyard and beat you like 11-0 in pickup.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great perspective. So
He's super. The show is super likable. Like there was no one there that didn't. Like
and no, CT is great.
Before we get into being a traitor and some of the rules, I have a question. So when it comes to Johnny, did he do something in the house that was like charismatic, or did he do anything where you're like, man, this guy's just too likable, or you're just looking at the numbers and saying one of these guys got to go?
No, there's a couple things. One, I didn't like that it was him and CT, right? Like to me, that's an issue. Like that they could run the whole thing. So one of them's got to go, number 1. Number 2, he won a lot. Number 3, interacting with both. I'm like, one of these guys got to go. Who could I see myself working with? Who have I connected more with?
And you're from Michigan, so you chose not the California kid.
And it was like, it's like, who do I think is going to be more unpredictable? And it's him. And so, like, at that point, and the other thing, too, that played a factor is he didn't get a shield. And I'm like, how many times is this cat not going to have a shield? Because I know he could probably snap his fingers and get it whenever he wants. And if this may be my only shot to get him.
Yeah, he could have been safe on his first challenge on House of Villains, but he gave that up too because I think he sees it as a smart move. But at the same time, you got to think of it as like, Johnny, you're damn near the king of reality TV. Like, you not going for the shield, you need to be more on like Janelle's vibe.
Right.
Because
She was scared.
She was scared because, like, listen, she's known as a gamer. She's known as the girl who wins a lot of competitions, and she does.
Yeah.
And so her going for the shield, I get it. It was super selfish and a little bit overzealous for sure.
Yeah.
See, I love that. I'm like, when I saw her do that, I'm like, these.
You wouldn't do it.
No, heck no, because I think it's a bad strategic move.
Oh,
to
it's
do that.
terrible.
But watching her do that and then seeing the reaction, I'm just like, this is watching Janelle like in the wild. This is what she does.
And her natural habitat.
Yeah. It's like,
It was hilarious because like you would never, not knowing Johnny or not knowing the challenge, you would
Yeah.
never understand the audacity. He would say like the audacity for you to kill me first, and we're over here like, of course, like that guy is gonna be the most offended person on
he
earth,
was so-
and you're just like not understanding like how.
I mean, like, I guess I can relate because it's really important to him. But the thing is like, I never heard from him. So it's like, hey, like he never messaged me like, hey, why did you do that? It was just like,
No, he was writing tweets, and he has listen.
it was like, bam, 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 bam.
Johnny
you know?
writes tweets, and he saves them, so then he just has them to copy and paste and release them. He puts them in his notes, and he fires them off.
So this, and I don't take anything personal. And I haven't, like, saw him in New York. We
I
said
know,
like
he
hi
posted
bye.
a picture of all you guys. You put a clown over your face. That's Johnny.
Here's what I think. This is and I haven't talked. I'm sure after the reunion, I'll find out everything. I think it's like wrestling kayfabe. That's how I'm taking. Meaning, like, hey, we're wrestling. We're going at each other. Like when the show's over, like, you know, wrestling's real, but it's not.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, like, when the show's over, he's gonna be like, hey, dude,
He's a showman.
Johnny's
Yeah.
being like Conor McGregor.
yeah.
Like, he
well,
was
that's
there-
what I'm assuming.
I think so
yeah.
too. But here's the thing: if you ever see him around a bunch of cameras, he's going to do anything he can to embarrass you and send you home first. Hell hath no fury like a scorned banana. He says that himself, and it's true.
But I'll tell you that I don't have to worry about that because
yeah, if you don't go back, you don't have to worry about it.
no,
So,
well, he didn't do it to me. You know.
not yet.
What do you think? I'm going back to play any other games now?
What if you go back? What if you both go back for another Traitors?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, you bet. Now that's when you really got to send it back for real.
But see, that's to me, that's when I elevate is like if I have, not to me, but if there's a sworn enemy, like I'll extend the olive branch. I got no problem working with, people that want to
yeah.
come after me. You
Oh
know?
no,
For
he
sure.
does. He does too. But he will. He's known for getting screwed over and then coming back and getting them back.
Oh, really?
Oh, Johnny is a vengeful.
But he's got played before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he still owes me one.
See, here's my thing. How do you win 7-8 times if you're getting duped? Because I don't watch,
So here's the thing. Here's what happened. Johnny came on the show, the challenge, and he went home first in his first challenge too. And then he made the right friends. He put in the work. He got himself into shape. And then he had a couple of wins. Boom, boom, boom. Like 3 in a row where it was like, oh, crap. And then once he had all those wins, then he went into the next couple seasons with this like very strong alliance who always had his back. They stayed very true.
And are these alliances based on outside relationships?
Yes.
Okay. I
Almost
get it.
all the challenge after your first season, like as soon as the calls start going out, the text messages, the DMs, are you going? Are you going? And you people start making deals like months before.
They told us some stories, CT and I think Bananas, about like production doesn't treat you guys very well.
Oh no, no, you don't have to whisper that. Production treats us like trash on the challenge.
And I'm like, they're saying like some dude had his like wrist messed up, and they're like,
Hunter.
hey, they're like,
Yeah.
hey, I gotta go see the medic, and they're like, if you go, then you're done, and we're not gonna. I'm like, this is nuts to me. Like, why would you
I
put
spent
yourself?
7 days in the ICU on a dialysis machine after one of the finals, and afterwards, I told the producer, the head producer, I'm like, bro, something's wrong. I need to go to the hospital. He goes, you're fine. He tossed me a banana. Then I went to the hospital because I finally fought it because I was pissing blood. And we get there and the doctor's like, you need to go into ICU. Like, if you don't get hooked up, if you go to bed in a hotel, you'll wake up dead. I called them and they're like, dude, you're being a wuss. Get back here. Everyone's going out. And the doctor was looking at me like, dude, if you go home, you're going to die. So I was like, I'm going to listen to this doctor. So yeah, they don't treat us well.
I've got a question for you. After this hospital episode,
That was my last season.
okay, I was gonna say no judgment. Will you do another season or would that? Because my thing is like, if you know you're gonna get treated like garbage, why go do it?
It's like a drug, dude. It's the adrenaline. I won a season and that check coming in the mail, you're like, I mean, you know what it's like getting
Yeah.
that check. You're like, oh my
The
gosh.
difference, I mean, from Michigan, like
Yeah.
the money goes a lot further in Michigan than it does in California.
Well, I remember saying after, I forget what season it was, but it was like something like $20,000 or $30,000. I was like, literally in Michigan, if I get $30,000 cash, like I don't have to work for 2 years. People were like saying, like, no, that's not true. I'm like, no, the way I live, I don't have to do shit.
Maybe not these days, but
Not anymore, but back then,
yeah, you'll be all right. No, that's great. And so I mean, I'm gonna turn the question back on you.
Yeah.
Is there another game other than Traitors that could bring you out of the house?
I mean, it would have to be something new. I was joking with my wife. I'm like, in another 10 years, like when I'm 50, I would like to try Survivor. But like, I have young kids. Like when my kids are like college.
Too young.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I don't want, because the thing about the Traitors is I could call home. I could FaceTime my kids.
Yeah, that's huge.
You know, and
I was gonna
for
ask
me, it
about
was
that.
really
Yeah.
important.
I would love to know. Let's talk about the process.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the
Yeah.
so from day one till you win the show. How long were they saying you're going to be gone on Traitors?
3 weeks.
Oh, beautiful.
I know.
Sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up.
And
What was
like,
her name? Shelby what?
Yeah, we're gonna have a conference call. Go
No,
ahead.
but it was, to me, is really important. Like, can I FaceTime my kids? Can I know they're okay? And they're like, yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, these newer shows, they're getting like, even I've heard the Challenge USA on CBS, they are way better with that stuff.
Well, this was mind blowing to me. So the NBC and Peacock has this team called the Wellness Team, and it's probably
I've heard that.
12, 15 people, and their only job is like, are you okay? Here's a psych. I got a little uncomfortable. Like, I didn't open a door and hold a bag. About halfway through, I'm like, guys, I can carry my own stuff. I can hold my own doors. But they took it so serious about like making sure mentally, physically, we were okay. And the cool thing for me with doing this show, I knew based on how the producers were, if they had to make a decision, do we look after someone individually or make a great show? I didn't question it. They looked after people individually, which for me,
That's rare.
It's brilliant.
It was wild.
Very
But I
rare
loved
for-
it. And so
yeah.
that made me want to go that much harder and make sure
Right.
I'm 100% invested. Not that I wasn't already.
From a I deal with some talent when we bring people in and we do that. Like we
Who
always
is,
try
all right,
to.
well, since you brought that up,
You're good.
who is the most difficult to deal with that you brought in here? You don't just get to grill me here.
Fine, me.
The most difficult. I'm gonna take the easy answer. I'm gonna say Zach's son Anthony. Whenever
Come
he's in.
on. No.
Listen, we want to have these people back in the future. So our thing is,
fine.
it's funny. It's funny that you ask because like our thing is like a lot of times we have guests in after we've been critical. But it just happens that way. So once we have the relationship, they know we're going to continue to be critical.
Yeah.
But
As long as you guys are fair, like if
Yeah.
you can't take criticism, like say, "Oh, you screwed up. You should have went after Phaedra 2 weeks earlier." I agree. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's
no.
not like
Yeah.
I
for
get
sure.
it.
No, for sure. So where I was going is like I just feel like if the talent feels taken care of, they're gonna, like you said, just go the extra mile.
Especially in a game where you're pretty vulnerable on TV like that. Like people are trying to get what they're doing. So I get
Yeah.
that, but that's a stretch. Like in the challenge, you have one talent producer that handles the whole cast, and you're only allowed to talk to her. And if you get caught asking for anything else, like it's so stupid.
So I don't know if you can talk about this, but like, did you sleep in the house? Like, when did the interviews happen? When did the what do they call it? I call it the vestibule or the layer.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
everything takes place in the cast, so everything's there. It's a massive. It's we only saw a percentage of the cast, so that's how big it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild but the best thing about it was for me, I think the average age of the cast was like 40, 42. So so you got some adults.
Well, that says a lot about where reality TV is at this point.
The number one show is it's awesome.
The demographic that watches reality TV is
We've aged up.
25 to like 55, 60. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the young people.
But it's like that's
Right.
what I grew up with. I grew up. Survivor came out when I was like 13 or
Yeah.
14, and then I was hooked.
The last basketball team I coached was at Brighton, 2020. It was during COVID. That was enough to run me out of public school coaching. But
Why?
I couldn't deal with so just imagine a gym. Everyone's got masks on except for me. I wouldn't wear one in the school because I'm like, the scientifically doesn't make sense. But anyways, that was the last time I coached was then.
That was a tough. I was coaching. I had to step out because I'm like I couldn't bring my kids to practice. I mean, the fact that you coached through a COVID, you're trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Well, so what
do you have a
hap-
game? Do you have practice? Is it
Right.
canceled?
So here's what happened though, and this is why I was like, I'm done with this, is my wife got COVID. I didn't even have it. I called the head coach and he hated it, but he was like, dude, I have to do what I do with everyone because that's the rule. So you
Yeah.
can't come for 2 weeks or whatever. After 2 weeks, half the team had COVID. So then went another 2 weeks where they couldn't even play a game. So now I've gone a month of not being there and then I got it.
Yeah.
And so then I literally spent 6 weeks of the season not even around the team, and I just felt disconnected. But my point is, these are like 16 to 18-year-old kids. I'm coaching them. Not a single one of them knows I was on TV, but their parents did. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, reality TV is completely changed.
Yeah.
And that's why what you're saying is so brilliant, bringing all these people back, is because the fans of reality TV don't really care about new people. They're like, we have all these old characters that we grew up in our 20s and 30s watching. We want to see them.
Yeah, and I get like it may limit the opportunity for some like civilians to go on, but like I want to see Boston Rob. I want to see Sandra compete again. Like these like legendary people.
Right.
Like I'll watch. I'm not gonna watch a season of new people. I may watch this season of Survivor. I haven't watched in years, but I'm just like I want to see the people that I grew up with because they're killers. Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You got the best wheel
And
right
it's
here.
the nostalgia of it
Yeah,
too. Like
that's
when
it.
they do Challenge All Stars and they brought back all the people I watch, like people I would watch and everyone would watch when they were younger. You're just like, this is cool.
Yeah,
And now everyone's like a
reason.
little bit older, like maybe a step slower.
And
you
I
know?
think too, people who are fans of reality TV, they want to see like what's Dan up to after 12 years. Like they were such fans, they were invested. So that's the other big part about reality TV is you have people who come on it, become favorites, and then they're like, well, it's not really worth it to keep pursuing this. I have a great life at home. And that was fun. And then you don't get to hear from them where it's like, there's a market for that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure.
Where are they at now?
There's a reason that there's 10 Fast and Furiouses and there's 7 Rockies.
Well, that's
whatever
excessive,
there
and
is.
so is the Rockies.
But no, the point is like get your stars, have them getting taken care of, and do that. So you slept in the castle?
Yeah.
Was it cold?
Oh, that's wild.
It was cool.
Was it cold?
They
They always say castles are drafty.
no, it was cool. It was
Everyone have
interesting.
their own room.
Everyone has their room. There's a security guard and there's a
Outside
noise,
of every door?
noise machine outside every door.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
so
wild.
CT definitely wasn't getting anything from Phaedra on the sneak.
We were curious.
We
were
thought CT
curious.
was just every night. That's why he looked so relaxed at breakfast every morning.
Well, so
and Phaedra was walking like she had a corn dog up
hey
her
babe,
butt.
mwah, and mwah.
Yeah, just saw you.
Yeah, no. So, all right. So to get back to that, okay. We talked about that's what you turned down. Tell us how you got your start. Did you always want Big Brother? Did you want Survivor first? Like, what was that?
I applied to Big Brother and I actually applied to Survivor first. And back in the day, before you guys, you had to send in like a VHS tape. Like that's how long. Like I sent.
No, I did that too.
I sent a VHS tape in. I get a call back from Survivor. I drive to Chicago in my Ford Taurus, and I go through the casting process, like just learning. Like then I get turned down for Survivor, and I was crushed. But I'm like, you know what?
You realize 1,000,000 people tried out.
Well, to me, I'm like, I'm going on. So I took the same tape and I changed a little bit, sent it to Big Brother, but I'd already been, it's like the exact process back then. So I was prepared.
So you knew the process and you kind of knew what they were looking for. See, I didn't.
Yeah.
I told them, I tried to get out of my first interview. I'm like, no, they gave me a packet to fill out in the first casting
Yeah,
thing.
you used to have to-
I went to
yeah.
like 3 different, and they're like, here, fill this out. And I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
They're
It
like,
was,
really? I'm like, I'm not filling that out.
Yeah.
And they're like, seriously? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not filling that out. And then they called me that night and they're like, hey, can you come back? And I was like, I didn't even fill out your packet. But yeah, I'll be there.
yeah.
I feel like these days, Big Brother, they like have a storyboard and then they like pick like, okay, there's this character, let's go find this character. Because we've heard a lot of stories about these days about characters. I'm sorry, about
People trying to build an influence and they get a semi-influence, and then Big Brother producers reaching out to them and be like, hey, are you interested in being on TV?
Right.
Whereas like that's not how reality TV was when we applied.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of people in their Abercrombie outfits standing outside a bar in Ann Arbor.
and if it happens, it happens.
And yeah, if the right person sees you, you're good.
Yeah.
So you were able to use your phones. Is it just like on demand, like when you ask for it, or you have it afterward?
No, it was like you had to kind of schedule it, but it
Got
wasn't like a no, you can't.
You couldn't keep it in your room at night?
No, because I mean we'd have access to like
each other.
actually.
That's where we were because like, hey, if you guys are talking on the low,
it was
you know.
monitored too. Like there was someone in there just because like I
Did
could
they
ask-
watch you sleep?
No, just on the phone call.
Oh.
Just on the phone
yeah,
call.
yeah,
So like I
that's-
couldn't ask my wife like, hey, can you find out any information?
Right.
Right. No, for sure. Okay. So did you talk about your first Big Brother experience? And was it fun? Was it hard?
Oh, it's great. I mean, imagine being 24 and winning $500,000. I mean, it was for me though. I went in there and I felt like I grew up a lot. I went in there I thought I was gonna win, and the first hour there, I'm
Yeah,
like,
you had a rough go. For the
I'm
first
like,
couple
bro, I'm
episodes.
cooked. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've wanted my whole life to get here, and then I mean,
You
I was a
scram- you-
fish out of water.
Yeah, you were
man.
scrambling at first.
Yeah.
But you settled in.
Yeah,
But yeah, you were a fish out of water first.
I
But-
was cooked.
Yeah,
you
your
know?
second one though, that was the impressive one. And it was probably fun to play with. I met Mike Boogie.
Dude.
I didn't know. I had never watched a season of Big Brother. I was in Boston, and he was at a friend's house who
Yeah.
knew him, and he walked in, and I think he liked me because I was on the challenge, and he didn't really know me, and he was on Big Brother, and I was like, dude, I mean, I know who you are. Like I googled you now that I
Yeah.
knew you're gonna be here, but I never watched it. And I think he liked that.
Yeah, you know, Boogie loves reality TV. He's had like a couple bumps here, but he gave me the best advice when I got off Big Brother the first time, and anyone else could have told me it, and I wouldn't. I just revered him as like the first. I was a young kid, and I grew up watching Boogie. Like,
Season 2, right?
Yeah,
Him and Dr. Will.
Yeah, but then he won All Stars, and so I looked at him. I'm like, this dude, you know, like he's the guy, and he told me, he's like, hey, like go back home, go back to your normal life, because you'll get lost out here. And if anyone could have told me that, I wouldn't have listened. But because it was him and I just won, I'm like, all right. So I went home, and like I feel like I avoided maybe some of pitfalls of LA and like trying to
Can't
pursue
trust
that.
anyone out there.
100%. Did they?
I always say the devil lives in LA.
It's a different place. I mean, coming from the Midwest, when I was there, I'd meet someone, and I knew they're thinking, what can I do for you? Not, hey, how are you?
Right.
It was a culture shock.
What can I get out of my relationship with you?
Exactly. And I felt that right away. I'm like, I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I went in a little bit further than you. I found myself in a room full of guys that were like, hey, you need to lose weight if you want to be a model, and you can live in this house with 14 other guys. And I was like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. Suck my ass. I'm not doing this.
Did you live in LA for a little bit?
No, I never lived in LA, but I got like, so I'll just frank. Right out of my first season of the challenge, Silver Modeling Agency in New York hit me up. And people told me, like, dude, this is a legit agency. I had no idea whether it was legit or not. And so I'm, just won my first season of the challenge. I was on The Real World, and I had
How
abs.
much you win for the challenge?
Well, my team, 250. So we all got like whatever that is by 4, 67, 5. Now you're getting $500,000 to $1 million, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. But
$250,000 out the door for sure.
yeah, easily. So I won before it was cool, right? What was I saying before I got sidetracked?
You're talking about the modeling.
There's a lot of Michigan winners.
A lot. Laurel, me, well, Leroy, not so much.
Xavier and Big Brother.
Xavier.
Was Laurel challenge?
Laurel's challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, these guys were like, "We're gonna sign you. You're good. We got all these jobs for you." And I went to their thing, and they were like, "Okay, you're gonna have to take all your clothes off, and we're gonna take pictures of you." And I was like, "I'll take my shirt off, but pants are staying on." Then they told me I was fat and I need to lose weight, but I had to move into this house.
Was this a legit agency, or do you find out later?
It was called Silver Modeling Agency. It could be, might not be. I was told it was. And then they were like, "You're fat," and I was like, "Dude, these guys are like the sloppiest 4 dudes I've ever met in my life." And then they were like, "You have to live in our house with like 14 other guys, and we live there too." And I was like, "Yeah, suck my ass."
Yeah,
and then they sent me to one audition, and they showed me this like Viking outfit I was supposed to put on, and I was like, no. And I left, and then they called me a few more times. I just never answered. And then I got an email saying like, you can't sign with any other agency for like 5 years. And I was like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that again. That was weird.
No, it's Holly weird. New York is weird. But, like, obviously there's good people everywhere, but like, it's just not like home. Like home, you can count on, your neighbor being your neighbor.
Yeah. And you can go to a store and park in the parking lot.
Exactly. What did you learn about yourself being on reality TV that you didn't know about yourself already?
That's a good question. I think having now done 3 shows over 15 years, I think the thing that I learned the first time on Big Brother was that if like I started as a kid, man, like I'm like I want to go on this show, and then I want to win this show. And I always feel like after doing that, there's nothing that, it sounds corny, that I can't accomplish. Now, can I go play in the NBA? No, but like if there's something I really want to do, like my career now, I stream on Twitch, and it's super competitive.
What do you stream?
I stream like video games, but
okay, but I know that like so that's your career, is you stream video games.
That's what I do, and that's what it sounds like.
So could I do that with like Super Nintendo games?
You can do it with anything you want. But it's
but people gotta watch.
It's super competitive.
It's very saturated.
Yeah, and like to me, I'm like okay, this is what I want to do, however long it takes. And it took about like 5 years of grinding it to be like financially viable. But now that it is, it's like, okay, what's the next thing?
So you told the kids, coach yourselves.
Oh, well, I was doing both. I was coaching.
Well, no, for sure.
Yeah, I was coaching and doing Twitch.
That's kind of like where I'm at right now. I'm doing this, but this is my hobby.
Yeah.
That I'd like to be my maybe job someday. But then
how's our monetization here, Pierre? We got to.
We're doing okay.
That's good.
But anyways, my point is like I always wonder. So what games do you stream, or does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter. So like think of like Call of Duty, Fortnite as like the top tier of like most popular games. I go the next tier down, a lot of independent games, because there's not as much competition. There's still competition, but it's easier to grow at this level as opposed to Call of Duty.
Did you ever play Gears of War?
Bro,
Never played
You're
Gears
like that kid like everyone knows there was a kid in high school where the teacher would be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the kid would just say something like outlandish. You did it. So if I were you, I'd go back to my old elementary school and middle school teacher. Anyone that I said like, I'm gonna play video games for a living, and be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool, but fuck off, all of you. You know, I had a 5th grade teacher tell me you're never gonna graduate from high school because I couldn't sit and listen to her, and I'm like, you're boring. Like, why would I listen to you? You suck. Suck my ass. I'll get A's on all your stupid tests. But yeah, no, like, so like sometimes I think about it. I'm like, people care what I think. I want to go tell Dr. Suri to suck my ass.
Yeah, well, you could.
That was
whenever
my
you want.
history teacher as a sophomore.
There you go, Suri.
She sucked.
Doc Suri.
You remember that? She's so horrible.
I do. Okay, so let's talk about this current season. I know you don't have too much time, but let's talk about how do you think Phaedra is playing without you?
I think Phaedra is playing without me the same way she's playing with me. I'm trying to be critical and straightforward. I think in the hand-to-hand combat, like defense, deflecting, she's great. I think when you saw her bring Kate in, and Kate's like, what's the strategy? And Phaedra's like, what do you mean strategy?
That was really bad.
You know, like that's how she's playing.
It was like when Pam quit her job in the office to be at the Michael Scott Paper Company, and she's like, so? He's like, well, we gotta have breakfast. That was Phaedra. She's like, okay. He's like, well, you know.
Totally.
But she's the star of the show for sure.
Yes.
And she's great in the moment to moment. To me, I feel like I was the opposite. I felt like I could plan 18 steps to get to the end, but I just forgot.
Yeah,
I didn't play
you
face to
want to be
face.
the Wizard of Oz. You want to be calling everything.
But that's how I always play these things.
Right.
And like whenever like I take the
yeah,
big
you
shot,
cocky son of a bitch. You faked your own funeral on national television. You came out of solitary confinement twitching like, and then did that. And I'm like, how are these? And you got to remember, I'm watching it in 2023.
Yeah,
so I'm
it's
like,
different.
how are these idiots take like that? And that girl ate it.
But
up,
it's different.
dude.
But you have to understand,
Bro,
Big Brother's
you
different
used the
though.
shit out of that girl all season.
But listen, it's different because like it's not like you're living with these people, and the reason it worked is because I put in 20 hours a day. What's your favorite? What's
I
your
trust
dog's
you.
name?
You didn't sleep. Yeah,
I'm
no.
like,
that girl loved you. She would have. You could have been like, eat that rat poison, and she would have been like, I'll do that for you, Dan. I don't remember her name, but I just remember that poor girl. Like you just were like
her brother was like this close to punching me at the finale, and she saved me.
punching, dude. If that was my sister, you'd show up to a bag of dog shit on your porch 3 times a week.
So she's definitely made some errors in my opinion. I think the Kate, ultimatum was a mistake.
Don't pick Kate. Can't pick Kate.
I think that was a mistake. I think she probably should have went with a CT or a Peter, someone that had a little bit of influence in the house and might have been able to do that. But
It would have been great TV if she picked Peter, because when you're doing an ultimatum, it's like literally you're picking a traitor,
Right.
because
Yeah.
you're not gonna walk away.
right.
It's not an ultimatum.
Yeah.
It's like you're becoming a
Yeah.
traitor.
Yeah.
Peter
Even
might have said, "Kill me."
Yeah.
Peter might have been like, "I'm gonna die unfaithful."
even John would have said something like, I don't want to, but I guess
gosh.
I will be a traitor.
But imagine Peter becoming a traitor and then just like murking all those people that he like loved. you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the pivot would have been he pivoted anyway, so he might as well have done it.
Yeah.
He literally made the most treacherous move all season, and he's super faithful. I'm like, what are you doing? But again, Bachelor,
Yeah. He's a bad
He's sharp. He's surprised.
Oh, for sure.
Super
no,
sharp.
he definitely is sharp. There's a reason why you get chosen to be being chosen to be the Bachelor is harder than being chosen to be on any other reality
Yeah.
TV show, because you're the one dude.
But he's got it. Like when I didn't know who he was. When you met him, you're like, okay, it makes sense. He's a bachelor. He's like super charismatic, good looking.
he's
dude.
got the Riz.
He's got it, man.
He does
Like,
have
yeah,
it.
he's
You
got
met
it.
him in person?
I haven't met him in person, but I watched his season of The Bachelor, and
Would you make out with him?
would I make out with him?
Yeah.
No.
He's a good
I'm
looking.
trying to come up with a circumstance.
He's not
but
as
no,
good
there's
looking
zero
as
control.
Tony.
No, he's not.
But he's handsome.
But no, I mean, like he's one thing that's really cool about watching Peter is like I love seeing you here and talking about the passion you have for playing games. He has that.
Oh, dude, he killed it. And like he would do little stuff that like I didn't know until after. Like he faked the fight with Kevin. I'm like, okay, that may have not got what you thought mileage, but to me, when I saw that, I'm like, there was a doubt in my head. I'm like, do these guys not get along? I didn't know they staged that. And like,
Yeah.
I love that gamesmanship, even for the sake of gamesmanship.
He sussed you guys out with that.
Oh, bro, he smoked me out.
He
you know?
sussed you and Parvati.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
the one they cut this out, and they are kind of not giving him credit for it. But when I was finished going after Phaedra, Peter sits back, and in front of everyone, he goes, "I just think Dan just gave us the third traitor," and then everyone was just like, didn't say anything, but they gave the credit to Trishelle. Like that's the storyline they're building.
'cause
But he was the one that was like,
Dude.
and when he said that, I'm sitting back and I just got cooked by Phaedra. I'm like, this dude is the sharpest
locked in.
MFer in here.
Here's the thing, Trishelle is. I'm glad you said that because like they've made Trishelle look like the Wonderlick this season. Like
But I will say Trishelle and Peter to me strategically are the ones that are like trying to map this thing.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, the last time I played a game with Trishelle, she got hammered, made a bunch of racist comments, and then stormed out of the house with her suitcase falling down steps. That was the last I saw her, right? So the first time I saw her, my buddy took one of her pills and didn't remember 2 whole days. So like this is what I have on Trishelle, like in my bank, is I'm like, I think she's crazy. I think she's a lunatic. But
I got to give you, like, I when I met her, like, I'm like, she's a sweetheart. And
Yes, sweet.
But I feel, like, going through the
Crazy.
MTV stuff, I feel like that changes you.
It does. Yeah, it makes you a little weirder for sure. But like Trishelle to me was unhinged. Britney Spears currently. Like, Britney Spears, the knives. She's got like knives and she's like, I literally thought that of her, but
Where's the camp? Trishelle, I don't feel that way. I'm
No.
very fond of you, Trishelle.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I thought Trishelle was nuts. I think Trishelle on the challenge, like when I was on was uncomfortable because it was no longer the challenge that she grew up with. It was more cutthroat. I think that made her uncomfortable. I think it brought out behavior that she didn't even know she had. Probably MTV behavior that was,
yeah, like
from
grew
Vegas.
up. Like
she
you
grew up
yeah.
in Vegas. So I think this game is so much less physical. She's probably one of the younger-ish girls, so she's in a good spot there, and she's not as self-conscious. She's not as nervous, and it's more of like it is. It's more of strategic up here, and she has that 'cause she plays poker, and so these are her strengths.
Well, I think she's playing it really smart. She would come to me and like she would talk about strategy about the game. Like she's not one just sitting back. She's thinking about
Exactly.
things. But I think with this whole thing and why I wanted to play the Traitors, it felt like, as much as you can say it tongue in cheek, like an adult reality TV
It is,
competition
yeah.
show. There like people aren't getting hammered and
No,
like,
that's
doing
true.
all that kind of
I
stuff.
would be.
I mean, well, she said it herself. I like to hang out by the bar. That's what she said in the last
She does,
episode.
and she's not joking about that. Like the last time she was on All Stars, she was on season 1 of Challenge All Stars, which everyone thought it was going to be like a fun, loving thing. They came back, and they were making them do real challenges, and Trishelle was like, "We didn't get the memo that we actually had to be in shape." So like, Trishelle doesn't want to work hard; she wants to work smart,
But
and
here-
she's good at it though.
But here's the thing, like the way I look at it, even with like Trishelle, like you've been on a lot of shows. Like at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point,
and
like
professional poker player.
yeah, you don't want to like, at some point you can't run through a brick wall with a helmet on while carrying 2 dudes on your back.
No,
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 we
you
all got
can't.
a shelf life.
Oh, for sure. I met mine.
But like a shelf life for that. But maybe it's time to go play, mental warfare in a game like the Traitors.
I would love to try to play the Traitors, and all I know is I would try my hardest, but I would just I would be just outlandish. I think that's the only way I could survive.
That's the thing,
that.
it's not that serious, right? Like everyone's kind of in on the joke. It's like it's
Yeah.
fun. Everyone takes it serious, but it's still like
Yeah, I would play hard, but I
Yeah.
would try to be still like an entertainer.
Yeah.
Because I'm, the finals aren't my thing no more.
Not yet. All right, we are getting close to that time that you had asked for. Brother, thank you so much for coming through. It's a pleasure to have you here in the studio.
Thank
man,
Joey,
for sure.
your cousin Joey.
I will
Joey's the
thank
one that Joey, you vouched, and the vouch was good.
Thank you,
No,
man.
you guys are awesome. So
No,
nice to
for
meet
sure.
you.
I know
Yeah, nice to meet you
I know
too.
you have your own podcast. We're gonna go through the whole process. You'll see the clips, and I don't know. Maybe we could sign you to Go Media. Who knows?
Also, you Twitch and you do your podcast.
Yeah, so like
Big Brother stuff.
No, I like interview people from video games, reality TV, and athletics because I spent a lot of time
Yeah.
coaching and so like someone like Allen Robinson. Or,
Were you an offensive coordinator?
I was a defensive coordinator.
My man, I
Like,
love
same-
defense.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, the game changed so fast.
I
and
feel
the
like-
high school game is like nuts now. Like kids are just their concern is racking up offers. And it's like, bro, you've played 10 snaps. How about you play for your team?
Yeah.
And then the offers
Right.
will come.
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Just down the road, right here, St. Mary's. Right?
Yeah,
It's
St.
crazy,
Mary's is
too, like-
awesome. St. Mary's is
Love it
an
there.
amazing place. Hold on. You guys had this on the wall. Speaking like,
Yes.
You coached him.
yeah, I mean, but just talk about like tough kids from
swear.
St. Mary's.
You know,
like
my kid swears.
that's the thing. Like, and this is so regional, it won't apply. But St. Mary's, there's just it's an awesome place. You get all kind of kids, and they're tough. And to me, I'm sure you felt the same. Coaching keeps you young. Like your plug. I felt like I was plugged in to whatever that next generation was while I was there.
Yeah, it
And
got
it's-
tougher and tougher. Like one time I said something there, like, or I had a couple kids got in my car. We were driving to like a team function, and Justin Timberlake was on. Like, I don't know. And some kid goes, "Oh, my mom listens to this." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up. I don't care how good you are. I'm pulling you next game."
His mom was probably super hot.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake's awesome. They're like, dude, this is old people music.
Well, that's us.
No, coaching does.
Well, thank you for giving us your time. I appreciate it. Have fun on your trip. And
Can I say one thing?
please, this is your platform.
This has been a highlight for me because from Michigan, you don't get to do this stuff in Michigan. This is like an LA thing that, you know, the GOAT Media Studio is sweet. And I give you guys, to me, when someone's doing something that no one else is doing, no one's really doing this here, at least to my knowledge. Like that's
No, you're
awesome.
right.
You know,
Thank
and
you,
like
brother.
you're a leader around here and like I have no doubt, you know, things are going to continue
Thank you,
to
brother.
grow for you guys.
Like I said, hopefully we can work together. We'll negotiate some. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Check out Dan's old seasons if you haven't checked him out. And if you're not watching the Traitors, go check that out.
And I'm gonna go buy a Super Nintendo, and you guys are gonna watch me play Super Mario World because I know how to get every color Yoshi.
Oh, yeah. Go Media Streaming is a real thing. We've been working on it. We'll see you guys soon.